Chapter 73. At this moment, Zhao Wuji was like a volcano that was about to erupt. Whoever went up against him would be finished. But in fact, if Wang Feng didn't agree, he couldn't really disagree with Wang Feng's test. Because Wang Feng's soul power and talent were already very obvious. Just his healing ability alone was enough for him to enter the Shrek Academy. It was obvious that teacher Zhao wanted to beat this kid up to vent the anger in his heart. But no one expected Wang Feng to agree to Zhao Wuji's request. "Brother Feng, it's my fault." Tang San smiled bitterly. If he hadn't forced himself to be brave for Xiao Wu and used all his trump cards, teacher Zhao wouldn't have found trouble with Brother Feng at this time. He was indeed a little impulsive just now. After all, teacher Zhao was a teacher, not a real enemy. Moreover, Brother Feng didn't have his hidden weapons. Plus, teacher Zhao was suppressing his anger at this time. It was even more difficult to fight with teacher Zhao now. If teacher Zhao fought with him now, he wouldn't be so easy to get hit. Tang Xin thought in his heart, "Why should I blame you? You did nothing wrong." Wang Feng said with a smile, "I really want to fight with teacher Zhao. Even if I really get beaten up, I'm not afraid. My martial soul has the ability to heal." He really wasn't afraid. Zhao Wuji wouldn't kill him. Moreover, he wouldn't be beaten up so easily. "Wang Feng, you're a healing type auxiliary soul master. Do you really want to fight with teacher Zhao?" Ning Rongrong suddenly turned her head, the blush on her face fading slightly. "Don't force yourself. Even if you can dodge Tang San's hidden weapons, it doesn't mean you can dodge teacher Zhao's attack. We'll know after we fight." Wang Feng glanced at her. He didn't expect Ning Rongrong to care about others. "Okay, you guys stop talking." Zhao Wuji looked at Dai Mubai and Zhu Zhuqing, who still wanted to say something, and immediately waved his hand. "He's not afraid of being beaten up by me. What are you guys still talking about?" Dai Mubai, "Take them to their rooms first." Hearing this, everyone was stunned. Wang Feng was also stunned. What the hell? If I let them go, who am I going to show off to? He couldn't leave. Wang Feng hurriedly coughed a few times. "Teacher Zhao, let us finish reading." Tang San said, "In case you can't stop it later and an accident happens, we can stop it in time." Yeah, I have to buff Wang Feng." Ning Rongrong hurriedly chimed in. Zhao Wuji thought for a moment and nodded. He smiled and said, "All right, I'll let you go. I just don't want you to have any psychological trauma." Everyone, this kid's healing ability is so strong that it's even better than Oscar sausage. I'm going to get my hands on him later. Zhao Wuji thought to himself. When the two of them arrived at the square was already in a mess. "Wang Feng, wait a moment. I'll give you a buff," Ning Rongrong hurriedly shouted. However, Wang Feng waved his hand and said, "Thanks, but I don't need it for now." Ning Rongrong was furious. "Are you looking down on my 7 treasures glazed pagoda?" As if he knew what Ning Rongrong was thinking, Wang Feng explained, "I want to spar with teacher Zhao normally first. I don't mean anything else." After hearing the explanation, Ning Rongrong's anger subsided a little. However, she still snorted and said, "Be careful then. Kid, tell me, what do you want to beat you up?" Zhao Wuji stood there casually. He had almost fully recovered from his previous injuries, and after the battle, just now, he was in a very good state right now. "I want to beat you up." Wang Feng grinned and charged straight at Zhao Wuji. Fast, extremely fast. A stream of air burst out from where he stood. Dai Mubai, Tang San, and the others did not even see his shadow. Big Brother Feng's movement skill isn't exquisite, but the essence of any movement skill is pure speed. With the purest speed, any exquisite movement skill is nothing but an illusion. Tang San took a deep breath. Purple light flashed in his eyes as he activated the purple demon eyes. Only then could he faintly see Big Brother Feng's afterimages. This was why his hidden weapons were not effective against Big Brother Feng. Big Brother Feng's reaction was too fast. Sometimes, Tang San even wondered if Big Brother Feng's achievements would be higher than his if he learned the various exquisite hidden weapons in the Black Heaven treasure record. However, it was just a thought. The Black Heaven treasure record was the treasure of the Tang sect. If he could not establish the Tang sect, he could not spread it. Wang Feng's speed was like a gust of wind, bringing with him waves of smoke. This kid is good at speed? No wonder he could dodge Tang San's various sinister hidden weapons. Zhao Wuji thought to himself, but he stood there as steady as Mount Tai. Good at speed? Zhao Wuji had a super strong defense. To be frank, if he had not been unprepared for Tang San's hidden weapons, he would not have suffered such a big loss. I won't use my soul power and just stand here and let this kid hit me. What can you do? Just now, I stood there and let Tang San and the other two beat me up. What happened in the end? I'm just a little embarrassed, but I'm fine. In the blink of an eye, Wang Feng rushed in front of Zhao Wuji in almost 2 blinks of an eye. His huge momentum brought with it a hurricane-like airflow. Wang Feng's simple and straightforward punch was directly aimed at Zhao Wuji's lower abdomen. Kid, just now, the 3 of them used all their strength and still couldn't hurt me. You want to beat me with 1 punch? Zhao Wuji's eyes flashed with a hint of a smile. I'd like to see how much power your fancy fists have. After saying that, Zhao Wuji also stood there without dodging. He didn't even use his soul power. Everyone held their breaths and watched with rapt attention. Only Dai Mubai's eyes were a little strange. Teacher Zhao, you're too arrogant at this moment. Wang Feng smiled and punched Zhao Wuji's lower abdomen. The next moment, bang, a muffled sound rang out. Boom! Zhao Wuji was directly sent flying by this punch. His body was like a bent steel pipe in midair. His eyes were bloodshot as if they were about to fly out of his eye sockets. He was directly blasted dozens of meters away and smashed into the dust, raising a string of dust and smoke. It was extremely shocking. Everyone's mouth was slightly open. This was simply more exaggerated than when they worked together to fight Zhao Wuji just now. The corner of Dai Mubai's mouth twitched slightly. He thought to himself, Wang Feng must have held back at the Rose Hotel. Otherwise, that punch wouldn't have been as simple as just sending me flying. Wang Feng indeed didn't hold back. He used his soul power and all his strength. There was no other meaning, just beat him up. Is he really a healing type auxiliary soul master? Ning Rongrong looked at Wang Feng blankly. Everyone was an auxiliary soul master. Why was the gap so big? Zhu Zhuqing's expression was also a little gloomy. As an agility-type soul master, she was best at speed, but just now, she couldn't see Wang Feng's speed clearly. What a terrifying power! And it's the purest form of power. Tang Sen muttered. Just now, the 3 of them had used all their strength and used all kinds of advantages in the air. The 3 of them worked together to barely injure Teacher Zhao. But now, Big Brother Feng had sent Teacher Zhao flying with a single punch. Brother Feng usually holds back when fighting with us, right? Xiao Wu said a little fearfully. That was for sure. At this moment, in the dust and smoke in the distance, a figure suddenly stood up. Good boy. As the voice fell, Zhao Wuji's figure walked out of the dust and smoke. 7 soul rings rose from under his feet and shone in the air. At this moment, the first soul ring suddenly shone brightly. Obviously, it was Zhao Wuji's first soul skill. Immovable Wisdom King True Body. It was his first soul skill, just now, that instantly defeated the combined attack of Tang San, Xiao Wu, and Zhu Zhuqing, and seriously injured 2 of them, causing them to lose their fighting strength. Any melee attack was completely restrained. Boy, although you are strong, this is all you can do. Zhao Wuji looked at Wang Feng with some excitement in his eyes. The punch just now had indeed made him feel the pain brought by pure power. However, as long as he used his soul power and activated his first soul skill, Immovable Wisdom King True Body, if this boy dared to punch him again, he wouldn't be injured at all. Instead, this boy would be seriously injured. Is that so? Wang Feng stood in place, looked at Zhao Wuji, and said slowly, Since you also use your soul skill, then I will also use my soul skill. Given Zhao Wuji's current state, his punch was indeed unlikely to cause any harm to Zhao Wuji. Soul skill? Isn't your soul skill a healing ability? Zhao Wuji snorted coldly. The gap between our soul power is too big. If you want to rely on that healing ability to cause trouble for me, it's unlikely. Everyone was also somewhat puzzled. Wang Feng smiled, opened the golden lotus in his hand, took a deep breath, and slowly said, "First soul skill, divine transformation." As soon as he finished speaking, light. Chapter 74. Two soul rings slowly rose from Wang Feng's feet. Following Wang Feng's words, the first dark purple soul ring shone brightly. At the same time, the golden lotus in Wang Feng's palm surged with endless golden light and wrapped around Wang Feng. The golden light was so dazzling that it hurt everyone's eyes. A 1,000-year soul ring and a 10,000-year soul ring? Zhao Wuji narrowed his eyes and looked at Wang Feng in shock. He didn't know that Wang Feng's soul rings were so abnormal. When Wang Feng moved just now, he didn't use his soul rings. Turtle, first soul ring is a 1,000-year soul ring, and second soul ring is a 10,000-year soul ring. Zhao Wuji felt his blood boiling. In all these years, he had never taught such a student. Wang Feng's soul rings were far beyond ordinary soul masters. Even those genius soul masters could only look up to him. No wonder he dared to agree to my request. Zhao Wuji's body shook, and the sound of bones cracking could be heard. I want to see how powerful this little guy with a 10,000-year soul ring is. A divine soul skill seems to be an auxiliary type soul skill. At the same time, everyone was watching closely. Brother Feng's first soul skill. Xiao was also excited. Brother, what do you think it is? Divine soul skill. From the name, it seems to be an auxiliary type soul skill. However, a soul skill attached to a 1,000-year soul ring is definitely not simple. Tang Xin analyzed in a low voice. After he finished speaking, he glanced at Ning Rongrong. Wang Feng's first soul skill was something that even the two people who often fought with him had never seen before. Isn't his soul skill healing? Dai Mubai frowned as he looked at Wang Feng, who was bathed in golden light. He could vaguely feel a huge energy fluctuation. Ning Rongrong also looked curiously. Like Dai Mubai, she also thought that Wang Feng's soul skill was the healing just now. However, Wang Feng's first soul skill didn't seem to be healing. An auxiliary type soul skill? Could it be an additional effect? Ning Rongrong pursed her lips. Could it be stronger than my 7 treasures, glazed pagoda? Everyone stared at him without blinking. Soon, the golden light retreated. Wang Feng's figure was revealed. When they saw Wang Feng bathing in the golden light again, everyone, including Zhao Wuji, was completely stunned. There was no other reason. Too handsome. At this time, Wang Feng's entire body was sparkling with a layer of colorful lights. His messy short hair became neat and tidy, swaying back along with the energy fluctuations. His face was like that of a god, and his eyes were filled with a faint golden light, filled with a suffocating pressure. What was even more frightening was that Wang Feng's entire body was surrounded by a layer of golden lightning. When he struck the air, the sound of air being torn apart was like thunder. Just by looking at him, he gave off a terrifying pressure, as if a god had descended upon the world. Everyone was dumbfounded. No wonder they were called deified. It was as if he had become a god. Brat, what soul skill is that? Zhao Wuji sensed a dangerous aura from Wang Feng's body. He could also vaguely feel that this kid had become much, much stronger. You'll know soon enough. Wang Feng grinned. The next moment, he suddenly disappeared from where he stood. It was like a gust of wind. Almost no one had even blinked their eyes. A series of lightning bolts exploded in the sky. The speed was unbelievably fast. Even Tang Xin couldn't see Wang Feng's figure clearly even with his purple demon eyes at this time. He was extremely shocked. Immediately after, Wang Feng appeared beside Zhao Wuji. Immovable Wisdom King. Zhao Wuji roared angrily, and his first soul ring shone brightly. His body seemed to have become as tough as steel, giving off an indestructible feeling. Take my punch. He was nowhere to be seen, but his voice came from nowhere. Dong! The sound of a wooden stake hitting an ancient bell rang out. Zhao Wuji's expression changed. He only felt a force that was several times stronger than the previous one hit his chest. Even in his current state, he felt a wave of pain. What was even stranger was his body even felt numb. Then he suddenly lost all feeling in his chest. It's the lightning surrounding that brat. What the hell is that? Zhao Wuji was extremely shocked. One had to know that in his current state, he could activate the immovable Wisdom King and was immune to most of the power and damage. But this brat could actually make him feel a trace of intense pain and even numb his body. The huge force attack and the paralysis brought by the lightning made Zhao Wuji unable to stay in place at all. With one punch, he took several steps back. Bang, bang, bang. Almost in an instant, the golden lightning streaked across Zhao Wuji's body and instantly left several fist prints or footprints all over Zhao Wuji's body. It was extremely fast and terrifying. Even Zhao Wuji, who had activated the immovable Wisdom King, couldn't react in time. In almost a second, the golden light that Wang Feng turned into attacked Zhao Wuji several times. If one were to stand in Tang San and the other's point of view, they would only be able to see a golden ray of light piercing through Zhao Wuji from all directions. Every time it pierced through, Zhao Wuji's face would turn gloomy, and his body would sway unsteadily like duckweed in the wind. Moreover, Teacher Zhao's breathing became even heavier. His speed also became slower. How was this immovable Wisdom King? He couldn't move anymore. Everyone was dumbfounded. It's too fast. Teacher Zhao didn't have a chance to react at all. He didn't even have a chance to use positioning tracking to catch Brother Feng. Tang San murmured. Moreover, Brother Feng's strength is even stronger. He can even cause some damage to Teacher Zhao when he's using the immovable Wisdom King. It seems that his attacks can also numb Teacher Zhao to a certain extent. How strong was Teacher Zhao when he was using the immovable Wisdom King? All of Tang San's current hidden weapons, except for the Dragon Beard Needle and the Shadow Incantation that could barely pierce Zhao Wuji's skin, were almost completely ineffective and harmless. They could only stall for time. But now, Brother Feng was actually suppressing Teacher Zhao with speed and strength, and he was attacking the hardest parts of Zhao Wuji's body, such as his chest and back, where the defense was extremely strong. As the number of attacks increased, all parts of Zhao Wuji's body began to redden and swell at a speed visible to the naked eye. Scars were already beginning to appear. Everyone was also stunned. The situation was completely beyond everyone's imagination from the beginning. From afar, Zhao Wuji seemed to be in the middle of the golden storm formed by Wang Feng's excessive speed. It was difficult to resist. But Zhao Wuji was Zhao Wuji after all. Just a few dozen seconds later. Gravity enhancement. Zhao Wuji suddenly shouted in a low voice, and the third 1,000-year soul ring lit up. The surrounding air suddenly became incomparably heavy. That kid was too fast, and Zhao Wuji couldn't see his figure clearly. If he didn't slow down the other party, he wouldn't even have a chance to find him and attack. As soon as this soul skill was used, Wang Feng's figure did indeed slow down a bit. Chapter 75. Position Tracking. Zhao Wuji knew that he couldn't do it one move at a time like he did with Tang San. This kid's speed was too abnormal, and the opportunity was fleeting. If he was really suppressed by him like this, he really wouldn't have the chance to react. The tracking position attached to his fourth soul skill instantly locked onto Wang Feng's figure. Gravity squeeze. Zhao Wuji seized this slightly heavier opportunity and quickly roared. In an instant, the air within 100 meters seemed to be squeezed by a terrifying force, with Zhao Wuji as the center. Wang Feng was also instantly squeezed over. After being tracked, Zhao Wuji could follow him, and his speed advantage would be greatly reduced. And this gravitational pressure made it impossible for him to escape. This is a combo. Zhao Wuji is indeed Zhao Wuji. Wang Fengxin was a little surprised. When he was fighting with Tang San just now, although Zhao Wuji used all these soul skills, he released them in intervals, giving Tang San many opportunities to release hidden weapons. But now, he directly released them in one breath. Several soul rings lit up from Zhao Wuji's body. It was like in a fighting game, seizing the opportunity and using various moves to unleash an ultimate combo to kill the enemy in seconds. He didn't give the enemy any chance. He didn't just use the simple A or B or This was Zhao Wuji's true strength. He finally brought out something real. If Zhao Wuji had dealt with Tang San like this just now, Tang San definitely wouldn't have had the chance to use hidden weapons. Might even draw palm. Seeing Wang Feng's figure being pulled closer by him, Zhao Wuji continued to roar. It was as if Iori Yagami's Sunflower 3 moves was about to kill Yagami. Of course, this was only Wang Fengxin's analogy. Wang Feng didn't expect Zhao Wuji to be able to use his soul skills so perfectly and seamlessly. Zhao Wuji's hands suddenly became the size of palm leaf fans, and he suddenly slapped Wang Feng, who was being squeezed towards him. Almost instantly, Zhao Wuji's series of moves dazzled everyone's eyes. The transformations and linkages of his soul skills could be said to be at the pinnacle of perfection. He had completely trapped his opponent. Similarly, it happened in the blink of an eye. Teacher Zhao is so strong. Xiao Wu swallowed a mouthful of water. Maybe he was just playing with us? Everyone fell silent. Tang San also watched with an extremely solemn gaze. He felt a burst of joy in his heart. Teacher Zhao really did not go all out. He did not show any of his real unique skills at all. If Tang Wulian had used 4 soul skills in a row, he wouldn't have had a chance at all. With the increase in gravity, he could instantly release a tracker. Borrowing the pressure of gravity, he could almost instantly bring Zhao Laosher closer to him. Finally, he would close in on him at lightning speed and use the Vajra Palm. He would be able to kill him with a single slap. Right at this moment, Zhao Wuji's palm flew towards Wang Feng. In a short span of 2 to 3 seconds, the situation on the battlefield seemed to have reversed. A contest of strength? Then I'll let you have a taste of your own strength. Looking at the palm coming towards him, Wang Feng's eyes flashed with a golden light, and his entire person seemed to have entered a wonderful state. In an instant, Zhao Wuji's movements seemed to have entered a state where time slowed down in Wang Feng's eyes. In the past 5 years, Wang Feng cultivated day and night nonstop, as well as fighting with countless soul beasts. Sometimes, he would also fight with unfamiliar soul masters. In terms of richness, it was far more exciting than Tang San and Xiao Wu. In these 5 years of high-intensity battles, Wang Feng could sometimes feel himself entering a mysterious state. In this state, his perception would be greatly improved, and he could use all kinds of skills that were usually difficult to use. He could see the trajectory of the enemy's attacks. His spirit would become extremely sensitive, and he could easily detect any movement in the wind, thus avoiding many attacks that were completely unavoidable. Just like now, this palm, in a short span of 2 seconds, Zhao Wuji used his extremely rich combat experience and did not hold back at all to use this set of soul skill combo, so that Wang Feng had no chance to react. Not to mention Wang Feng. Even if a soul sage was here, he would not be able to react at all. Only when Zhao Wuji used gravity enhancement and was hundreds of meters away from Zhao Wuji in an instant could he be completely spared. After all, it was the real thing of a soul sage. However, the combat experience that Wang Feng had accumulated in the past 5 years had also brewed this strange state. Wang Feng called this state emptiness. After entering the emptiness realm, everything was empty, and all kinds of attributes and spiritual perception were greatly enhanced, as if only he existed. It was a wonderful state of mind. Simply put, it was similar to potential outbursts, but also stronger. But this state would accelerate the consumption of soul power. With Wang Feng's current soul power, he could only maintain it for a few minutes at most. But now it was enough. It didn't even need a few minutes. After entering the emptiness realm state, Wang Feng's body suddenly dropped a few centimeters, and the slap in front of him almost brushed past the tip of his nose. Then he placed his hand on Zhao Wuji's elbow, and with a light touch, he felt as if there was a terrifying energy hidden in it. One could imagine how powerful this slap was. However, The corners of Wang Feng's mouth curled up into a smile. His body was in a strange posture. In the emptiness realm state, his palm moved and instantly changed the direction of Zhao Wuji's slap, swinging it towards his own face. Slap! The crisp sound of a slap could be heard. Zhao Wuji's entire body suddenly flipped over on the spot and spun several times. Only then did he land on the ground. Wang Feng stood indifferently on the spot. Just now, his posture was the core technique of Tang Hao's disorder-splitting wind hammer technique in the Holy Spirit Village. Over the years, he had been constantly summarizing and modifying it. It was no longer used for the initial swinging of the hammer. It could be directly used in all kinds of battles. It could be considered to have completely broken away from the disorder-splitting wind hammer technique and walked a new path. In this special attack method, Wang Feng called it reversal of heaven and earth. It was based on a very famous martial art in a martial arts novel in his previous life. That martial art was called stellar transposition. And in the emptiness realm state, his spiritual perception was greatly enhanced, and his control of his body became more precise. When he used reversal of heaven and earth, he was like a fish in water. The emptiness realm, reversal of heaven and earth, was Wang Feng's greatest gain in the past 5 years. Because normal meditation cultivation was too slow, Wang Feng relied on a large number of battles to reach his current level 30. These large numbers of battles also allowed Wang Feng to have the emptiness realm and summarize reversal of heaven and earth. After all, as a modern person, Wang Feng had to tinker with his own things. He couldn't completely rely on soul skills. It was just like how Tang San had his own unique hidden weapon. Wang Feng didn't have it, so he could only slowly tinker with it himself. In the eyes of everyone, they could only watch as Zhao Wuji's slap was about to land on Wang Feng's body, but it suddenly changed its trajectory. The slap actually landed on his own face. He sent himself flying. Then he suddenly landed on the ground, smashing into a cloud of dust. In an instant, everyone was petrified when they saw this scene. It wasn't until a while later that Zhao Wuji's intermittent voice slowly sounded. Chapter 76. The move that Zhao Wuji was asking about was the move that Wang Feng used to use Zhao Wuji's Vajra palm to reverse the universe and slap Zhao Wuji to the ground. Zhao Wuji wasn't the only one who asked. The rest of the people were also extremely curious. That was too strange. Did I hit myself? In the distance, Zhao Wuji slowly stood up from the dust, his face a little red and swollen. He was afraid that the slap just now would break this little guy, so he used about 70% of his strength. He didn't expect that not only did he not hit him, but he also suffered the consequences of his own actions. He thought to himself, if I had used my full strength, I would have suffered even more. That was impossible. As long as I was hit by gravity enhancement, it would be impossible to react to my soul skill combo. But just now, this kid actually used some kind of move to dodge it, and even used my Vajra palm to cause this slap to hit my face, and his strength even increased a little. It was extremely strange. Wang Feng stood indifferently on the spot and said, "This move is called Reverse the Universe. It's not a soul skill, but a technique." Hearing this, everyone was stunned. "Reverse the universe," Zhao Wuji muttered. "What a good reverse the universe." His palm strike just now should have landed on his body and ended the battle, but instead, it landed on his body and caused him to suffer injuries instead. Wasn't reversing the situation again the same as reversing the universe? However, Zhao Wuji was more interested in how Wang Feng was able to dodge his soul skill combo just now. But Zhao Wuji didn't ask too much about this. "Did your teacher teach you?" Zhao Wuji shook off the dust on his body and asked with a smile. This technique was very brilliant and ingenious. The words "reverse the universe" were filled with majestic intent. It was obvious that its origin was not simple. Hearing this, Tang San and Xiao Wu were stunned. "Teacher? Brother Feng has a teacher?" Immediately after, they heard Wang Feng shake his head and say, "No, I figured it out myself." As soon as he said that, the surroundings instantly fell silent. "Did you figure it out by yourself?" Zhao Wuji swallowed his saliva. You can figure it out? You're just a 12-year-old kid. How can you figure out such a powerful technique? Unless Zhao Wuji seemed to have thought of something, and his pupils constricted slightly. There was only one possibility for someone to be able to come up with such a brilliant technique through countless battles. Furthermore, he possessed extraordinary intelligence. This kid was not simple. Reverse heaven and earth. Tang Xin pondered and said, this seems to have evolved from the core technique of the wild hammering skill. I remember that when Big Brother Feng and Su Yuntao fought for the first time, he seemed to have used this technique. Later, when he fought me and Xiao Wu, he occasionally used it. I didn't expect Big Brother Feng to have come up with his own unique technique after all these years. In fact, it's not just limited to the wild, splitting wind hammer technique. It can be used in more battles. If it was in my world, it could already be considered as a pioneering martial arts grandmaster, right? Tang San was secretly shocked. In his previous life, he had only been obsessed with the Tang sect's hidden weapons, but he had also studied many martial arts. He knew that it was not easy to create a special martial art. Moreover, this special technique gave Tang San a feeling that it was beyond the scope of martial arts. One had to know that what teacher Zhao used just now was a soul skill. This was no ordinary move. Even a soul skill like this could be repelled by heaven and earth reversal. One could only imagine. Teacher Zhao, are you still coming? Wang Feng said with a smile. With the void realm and heaven and earth reversal, it was impossible for Zhao Wuji to rely on a soul skill combo to hurt him, unless he used a more shameless method to drag it out until his soul power was exhausted. After all, a rank 76 soul sage was still much more than Wang Feng's current soul power. Wang Feng's soul power was compressed and purified, but his current soul power durability was comparable to rank 50. The void realm also consumed more soul power. But who was Zhao Wuji? How could he use such a shameless method? If it was Xiao Wu, it might be possible. Haha, good boy. Don't be complacent. Although you and heaven and earth reversal are powerful, I don't have a way to deal with you. Zhao Wuji was stunned at first. Then he laughed loudly and said, I'll let you see, but I can't use my last soul skill on you. Zhao Wuji's last soul skill was Martial Soul True Body. Once it was activated, his strength would be completely different. Wang Feng had no chance of winning. That thing was equivalent to fighting with all his might, so Zhao Wuji couldn't use it. Although your heaven and earth reversal is very profound, my sixth soul skill can restrain you very much. Zhao Wuji smiled and said, this battle should be over. Kid, you should be proud to be able to make me use my sixth soul skill. The moment he finished speaking, Wang Feng, why did these words sound a little familiar? Dai Mubai seemed to know something, and his expression changed. He quickly said to Tang San and the others, quick, let's retreat. After saying that, he didn't give them any time to react. He directly pulled Tang San and the others and quickly retreated. Also, block your ears. Block them completely. Tang San, Xiao Wu, Zhu Zhuqing, Martial Soul Possession, Ning Rongrong, come behind the three of us. Dai Mubai said with an extremely serious expression. He seemed to be very experienced. Everyone was stunned. They didn't know what Dai Mubai meant by this, but they still did as they were told. In an instant, their soul rings rose and their auras soared. Teacher, how can you do this? Using this move on Wang Feng, Dai Mubai whispered. Dai Lao, what's Teacher Zhao's sixth soul skill? Xiao Wu asked curiously. The others also looked at him. Dai Mubai opened his mouth and was about to speak. Zhao Wuji growled in front of him, and his sixth soul ring, the pitch-black soul ring, suddenly glowed intensely. Wang Feng frowned slightly. He vaguely remembered that Zhao Wuji's sixth soul skill seemed to be a roar. The next moment, the ground seemed to tremble, and countless stones were shaken up from the ground. Zhao Wuji condensed a terrifying aura. His face was red, and wisps of black light flashed in his eyes. Dong! Zhao Wuji separated his feet and stomped on the ground, causing the ground to tremble a few times. Countless stones were directly shaken up high. Soul skill, mighty Vajra roar. Hearing these words, Wang Feng's expression changed slightly. Zhao Wuji opened his mouth, and a terrifying energy fluctuation came out from his mouth. Roar! In almost an instant, the stones on the ground that were shaken up were directly turned into dust by this roar. This was a soul skill with a large area of effect. He didn't need to come into contact with Wang Feng at all. He could use the power of the roar to make Wang Feng lose his ability to fight. At this moment, even if they covered their ears and left the square, Tang San and the others who were 200 meters away had extremely bad expressions. Ning Rongrong, who had a weaker physique, fell completely onto Xiao Wu's shoulder. Dai Mu Bai, who was the strongest among them, directly activated his martial soul possession and was barely able to resist the owner. The rest of the people were even more shocked. Isn't teacher Zhao a close combat soul warrior? What kind of perverted soul skill is this? Xiao Wu gritted her teeth with a pale face. Although they were so far away, the three of them felt that it was difficult to hold on. The blood in their bodies was surging, and it was extremely uncomfortable. Chapter 77. Brother Feng was less than 20 to 30 meters away from Zhao Wuji. Although Teacher Zhao is an offensive and defensive soul master, his soul skill is very effective against long-range attacks or control soul masters. Dai Mu Bai explained in a low voice. Mighty Vajra Roar is a special soul skill that contains soul power in the voice and is released through the roar. It's unavoidable. I rarely see Teacher Zhao use this soul skill. Apart from Teacher Zhao's 7th soul skill, Martial Soul True Body, this soul skill is Teacher Zhao's strongest move. The roar has a terrifying power that can shatter a soul master's heart and brain. Even if it's at the same level, it will at least make them dizzy and difficult to resist. For soul masters whose soul power is far lower than Teacher Zhao's, it can achieve instant kill. Just plugging your ears won't be able to completely avoid it. That's why I asked you to use martial soul possession to resist. Tang San's face turned pale. If Teacher Zhao had used this soul skill just now, even if he had held back, he would have fainted on the spot. One move was enough to make him completely lose his fighting strength. Even if he didn't release his many hidden weapons, he would have no chance at all. What about him? Zhu Zhuqing, who had been silent all this time, suddenly asked. He was naturally referring to Wang Feng. Everyone was startled. This battle should be over soon. Dai Mu Bai shook his head and sighed. Teacher Zhao is too experienced, Tang San said in a low voice. He clearly saw that Big Brother Feng's reversal of heaven and earth requires him to take the initiative to attack in order to use it. In other words, as long as he doesn't come into contact with Brother Feng, Teacher Zhao has the absolute initiative, and he will never suffer the same counterattack again. Zhao Wuji's mighty Vajra roar reminded Tang San of a Buddhist secret skill in his previous life, the Buddhist lion's roar. It was very similar. But Teacher Zhao is an offensive and defensive soul master. It's hard to imagine that he doesn't fight in close combat and has such a terrifying long-range soul skill. If this were on the battlefield, it would definitely be the nemesis of countless auxiliary-type soul masters. Tang San's analysis made Xiao Wu and Zhu Zhuqing understand. Ning Rongrong, who was at the side, was half unconscious. She was only an auxiliary-type soul master. So there was such a saying. The reason why Zhao Wuji was strong was because his soul skills were very comprehensive. There were offensive soul skills, such as the Vajra Palm, defensive soul skills, such as the immovable king's body, and soul skills, such as gravity amplification and positioning tracking that countered agility-type soul masters. He also had gravity crush, which was an area of effect attack. He even had a long-range soul skill, vigorous Vajra roar. He wasn't afraid of a one-on-one fight or a group fight. Just now, no matter if it was against Tang San, Xiao Wu, Zhu Zhuqing, or Tang San alone, Zhao Wuji could only exert 20 to 30% of his strength at most. Moreover, he had to control his strength so as not to hit them too hard and seriously injure them. He had to play for real like now. Whoever went up will be done for. I wonder if Big Brother Feng can withstand it. They slowly looked towards the center of the square. Amazing, amazing, amazing. As expected of the extremely popular immovable wisdom king, Zhao Wuji, Wang Feng stood where he was. His feet felt like they were embedded in mud. The power contained in the roar was beyond Wang Feng's expectations. Although he knew that Zhao Wuji's sixth soul skill was a roar, he didn't expect it to be so terrifying. Moreover, he was very close to Zhao Wuji. The closer he was, the more powerful the roar was. If Tang San and the others were here, they would probably bleed from their 7 orifices in an instant and fall unconscious to the ground. Their lives might even be in danger. In addition, it was a long-range, wide-range attack type. His reversal of heaven and earth and emptiness realm couldn't be avoided. Obviously, Zhao Wuji had also seen through his shortcomings. In a situation where his speed was far inferior to his, and he was restrained by reversal of heaven and earth, he decisively chose not to fight him in close combat and directly activated his 6th soul skill. He intended to make him lose his fighting ability in one move. But isn't this also my chance? Wang Feng's mouth curled up into a smile. He circulated all the soul power in his body and crazily resisted this terrifying sound wave. What followed was the rapid decline of his soul power. The roar continued. Dozens of seconds later, Dai Mubai and the others, who were hundreds of meters away, were completely paralyzed on the ground. They really couldn't get up. But fortunately, they weren't in the center of the square and didn't suffer too much damage. They just exhausted their soul power and were exhausted. At this moment, the roar slowly stopped. Wang Feng's face was pale, but there was a hint of excitement in his eyes. His entire body was trembling slightly, but he didn't fall. You haven't fallen yet. In the distance, Zhao Wuji watched this scene with an incredulous look in his eyes. This kid was so close to him. How could he not fall? Even a Soul King over rank 50 couldn't last so long. Zhao Wuji was still confident in his control. Considering that this kid was only rank 30, he didn't use all his soul power. But in the dozens of seconds just now, even a rank 50 Soul King wouldn't be able to last. This kid, can he last so long? Is he really a rank 30 Soul Grandmaster? Teacher Zhao, is there anything else? At this moment, Wang Feng stood in place and revealed a smile. His face was a little pale, but his tone was still calm. I wonder how many times you can use this soul skill. Hearing this, Zhao Wuji snorted coldly, stared at Wang Feng a few times, and slowly said, "Brat, although you can still hold on now, you don't have much soul power left, right? Although this soul skill of mine consumes a lot of soul power, it won't be a problem to use it 2 more times. The mighty Vajra Roar, a soul skill with a large area of destruction, indeed couldn't be used more than a few times. Then let's cut the crap. Hurry up. Teacher Zhao, it's best if you use it at full strength and don't hold back." Wang Feng laughed loudly. Zhao Wuji was stunned for a moment. Then he laughed in anger. This kid is really messing around. If I use my full strength and you can still stand up, Zhao Wuji will lose, okay? What a stubborn kid. Although he was so angry that he laughed, Zhao Wuji didn't intend to use the mighty Vajra Roar at full strength. He cherished this little monster. How could he really act recklessly? However, at this moment, Wang Feng smiled and said, "Teacher Zhao, you trash. If you have the guts, then use the mighty Vajra Roar at full strength. What kind of man are you to be so timid?" Hearing this, everyone in the distance was petrified. Looking at Wang Feng, a thought appeared in their minds. Is Wang Feng tired of living? Zhao Wuji kid, you asked for it. Even if I'm beaten up by the dean, I'll accept it. If I don't make you lie in bed for a few days today, my name isn't Zhao Wuji. Zhao Wuji's expression changed drastically. No one could tolerate these words, let alone Zhao Wuji's temper. Zhao Wuji stepped on the ground like a bull, and the 6 soul rings on his body slowly lit up. This was a sign that his soul power was circulating at full speed, except for the last one. Mighty Vajra Roar. Zhao Wuji roared in a low voice. Boom! A sound wave that was even more violent than before was released from Zhao Wuji's mouth. When Tang San and the others saw this, their expressions changed drastically. They dragged their weak bodies and retreated again. As for Wang Feng, the moment he faced this sound wave, his expression changed. All the bones in his body let out a crisp sound, and his internal organs seemed to be twisted by a strong force. Too strong, Wang Feng groaned. This mighty Vajra roar was at least twice as strong as before. Even if Zhao Wuji didn't use his full strength, he used at least 80 to 90% of his strength. Not to mention a rank 50 Soul King. Even a rank 60 Soul Emperor would probably be finished on the spot. Although his physical fitness was strong, he was at most about the same as a rank 50 Soul Warrior. It was impossible for him to resist it. However, knowing that he couldn't resist it, why would Wang Feng be so stupid as to use force? He even didn't hesitate to anger Zhao Wuji. It was very simple. Wang Feng needed to use this mighty Vajra roar and the meteoric tear to temper his body. A crazy idea. It had been a long time since Wang Feng had reached a state where his body exceeded its limits. Other than being used to compress and purify soul power, it had been a long time since he had felt the feeling of walking on a steel rope between life and death. Even if he fought with all his strength against many powerful soul beasts, he couldn't make the meteoric tear gush out that special energy to repair and strengthen his body. There was no other way. His physical fitness was too strong, but now it was a perfect opportunity. Zhao Wuji's mighty Vajra roar was a special sound wave attack that covered all directions. Its lethality was astonishing. But for Wang Feng, it was a super perfect way to temper his body. He needed to use Zhao Wuji's mighty Vajra roar to put his body at the limit of life and death and feel the warmth of the meteoric tear again. Of course, this was also very dangerous. If he was careless, he would be finished. But often, a real expert could complete a breakthrough and become stronger in extremely dangerous situations and be reborn from the ashes. The terrifying power brought by the sound wave was wreaking havoc on Wang Feng's body. It was as if his body was being torn apart. The muscles in his body were broken inch by inch. His internal organs, limbs, and bones were all shattered by the power of the sound wave. Wang Feng closed his eyes. This kind of pain that made his whole body split apart. If it was an ordinary person, they would have screamed in pain and even fainted. But for him, he didn't feel anything. He even missed it a little. This was still a little worse than the first time he reforged his body. Come out quickly. Because his spiritual will was extremely strong, the consequence of his strength was that Wang Feng could clearly feel the pain his body was suffering at every moment. But Wang Feng still persevered. This was a rare opportunity to greatly improve his physical fitness. After this, even if Zhao Wuji used the mighty Vajra roar again in the future, it wouldn't have such a good effect. Dozens of seconds later, finally, under Wang Feng's anticipation, a special energy that he hadn't felt for a long time gushed out of his heart and slowly nourished his entire body. That kind of carefree and comfortable feeling was completely indescribable with words. Every inch of his skin seemed to have been nourished. The energy gushing out of the meteoric tear flowed throughout his body, repairing every inch of his skin and bones, making them tougher and stronger. This was not something that the Golden Lotus's pure healing ability could compare to. It was more like a kind of marrow, cleansing valve body. At this moment, Zhao Wuji, who was on the other side, suddenly woke up not long after releasing the mighty Vajra roar that contained almost 80 to 90% of his strength and regretted it. Oh no, that kid! I'm afraid his entire body will be shattered. The anger in Zhao Wuji's heart seemed to have been extinguished by a splash of water. That kid's physical fitness was strangely strong, enough to be compared to a soul warrior of more than level 50, but his mighty Vajra roar this time was twice as strong as the last time. That kid just looked like he still had some strength left. How could he still be able to withstand his roar? Thinking of this, Zhao Wuji focused his eyes and saw that Wang Feng's eyes were closed. His facial features were bleeding, and his whole body couldn't stop trembling. Obviously, he was already an arrow at the end of its flight. This glance caused Zhao Wuji's heart to sink abruptly and turn icy cold. At this time, Tang San and the others, who were further away, were also shocked when they saw this scene. Not good. Brother Feng was too careless. At the same time, oh no, I'm really stupid. Zhao Wuji was full of regret in his heart. He was about to condense his soul power, close his mouth, and withdraw the mighty Vajra roar. However, at this moment, Wang Feng, who was in the distance, suddenly opened his eyes. A glimmer of light flashed in his eyes, and he suddenly shouted, "Awesome!" As soon as he finished speaking, in an instant, everyone on the scene, including Zhao Wuji, was stunned. Chapter 78. Brother Feng was only 20 or 30 meters away from Zhao Wuji. Even though Teacher Zhao is a battle spirit master who excels in both attack and defense, this spirit ability of his restrains long-range attack or control spirit masters. Daimu Bai explained in a low voice, "Vigorous Vajra Roar is a special spirit ability that conceals spirit power within the sound and releases it through the roar. Unavoidable. I very rarely see Teacher Zhao use this spirit ability. Apart from Teacher Zhao's 7th spirit ability, Spirit Avatar, this spirit ability is Teacher Zhao's strongest move. The roar contains a frightening power that is enough to shatter a spirit master's heart and brain. Even if it's someone of the same level, they would at least be shaken dizzy, difficult to resist. Against spirit masters whose spirit power is far lower than Teacher Zhao's, it can even achieve an instant kill effect. Just plugging your ears is unable to completely avoid it. That's why I call you Spirit Avatar to resist." Tang San's face paled when he heard this. If just now Teacher Zhao had used this spirit ability, even if he had held back some strength, he would still have been shaken unconscious on the spot. One move was enough to make him completely lose his battle strength. Even if he had many hidden weapons and had not yet been released, perhaps he would not have any chance at all. Then what about him? The always silent Zhu Zhuqing suddenly asked. He was naturally referring to Wang Feng. Everyone stared blankly. This battle should be over. Daimu Bai shook his head, sighing lightly. Teacher Zhao's experience is too abundant. Tang San said in a low voice. He very clearly saw that Brother Feng's heaven and earth reversal requires him to take the initiative to attack in order to be able to use it. In other words, as long as he doesn't come into contact with Brother Feng, Teacher Zhao will have the absolute initiative. He will also absolutely not suffer the same counterattack again. Zhao Wuji's vigorous Vajra roar made Tang San recall a kind of Buddhist secret art from his previous life, Buddhist lion's roar. Very similar. But Teacher Zhao himself is a battle spirit master who can attack and defend. It's very difficult for people to imagine that he doesn't fight at close range, but would possess this kind of terrifying long-range destructive spirit ability. If this was on a battlefield, he would absolutely be the bane of countless auxiliary system spirit masters. Tang San's analysis made Xiao Wu and Zhu Zhuqing suddenly understand. To the side, Ning Rongrong was half unconscious. She was only an auxiliary spirit master. So there's actually this kind of saying. The reason Zhao Wuji was strong was because his spirit abilities could be considered very comprehensive. There was the offensive spirit ability, Vigorous Vajra Palm. There was the defensive spirit ability, Motionless Bright King Body. There was the spirit ability to restrain agility attack, System Battle Spirit Masters. Gravity enhancement, position tracking. There was also the group attack gravity compression, and even the long-range large area attack spirit ability, vigorous Vajra roar. 1 versus 1, he wasn't afraid. Just now, whether with Tang San, Xiao Wu, and Zhu Zhuqing, or alone with Tang San, Zhao Wuji's strength at most displayed 20 to 30%. That's all. He still had to control his strength, so as not to attack too heavily and seriously injure several people. To play a bit for real, for example right now. Really whoever went up was finished. I also don't know if Feng Ji can withstand it. Several people faced the center of the plaza, slowly looking. Fierce, fierce, fierce. worthy of being the extremely popular motionless bright King Zhao Wuji in the original work. Wang Feng stood in place, both feet as if embedded in the mud. The power contained in that roar somewhat surpassed Wang Feng's expectations. Even though he knew that Zhao Wuji's sixth spirit ability was a kind of roar, he hadn't expected it to be so terrifying. Moreover, he was very close to Zhao Wuji, and the closer he was, the more powerful this roar was. If Tang San and the others were here, perhaps they would instantly bleed from their 7 apertures, fall unconscious, and perhaps even be in danger of dying. Adding that it was also a long-range, large-area coverage type, his own heaven and earth reversal and void boundary were both unavoidable. Zhao Wuji had clearly seen through his weakness. Under circumstances where his speed was far inferior to his, and still restrained by heaven and earth reversal, he decisively chose not to fight in close combat, and directly used this sixth spirit ability. He intended to make him lose the ability to fight in one move. But isn't this also a chance for me? The corner of Wang Feng's mouth hooked up into a smile. Circulating all the spirit power in his body, he frantically resisted this terrifying sound wave. What followed was an extremely rapid drop in spirit power. The roar still continued, and after dozens of seconds, Dai Mubai and the others who were a few hundred meters away were already completely paralyzed on the ground. They really couldn't even crawl back up. But fortunately, they weren't in the center of the plaza and didn't suffer too many injuries. It was just that their spirit power was exhausted. That's all. At this time, the roar slowly stopped. Wang Feng's face was pale, but there was a hint of excitement in his eyes. His whole body was trembling slightly, but he didn't collapse. You actually still haven't collapsed? Zhao Wuji looked at this scene from afar, an expression of disbelief in his eyes. This kid is so close to me. How is it possible that he still hasn't collapsed? Even a rank 50-plus Soul King can't last this long. Zhao Wuji still had confidence in his control. Considering that this kid was only rank 30, he didn't use all of his spirit power. But in the dozens of seconds just now, even a rank 50-plus Soul King couldn't last. This kid, how can he last this long? Is he really a rank 30 Soul Grandmaster? Teacher Zhao, do you still have more? At this time, Wang Feng stood in place, revealing a smile. His face was a bit pale, but his tone was still calm. I wonder how many times you can use this soul skill. Hearing this, Zhao Wuji coldly snorted, staring at Wang Feng a few times, slowly saying, Kid, although you can still persevere, you don't have much spirit power left, right? Although this soul skill of mine consumes a lot, it won't be a problem to use it 2 more times. The vigorous Vajra Roar was a large area of effect-killing soul skill, so it really couldn't be used too many times. Then don't talk nonsense. Hurry up. Teacher Zhao, it's best if you use it with all your strength. Don't hold back. Wang Feng laughed heartily. Zhao Wuji stared blankly, then immediately laughed angrily. This kid is really mischievous. If I use it with all my strength, and you can still stand up, then Zhao Wuji, lose, okay? Really stubborn kid. Although he laughed angrily, Zhao Wuji didn't really plan to use the vigorous Vajra Roar with all his strength. This little freak, he cherished him. How could he really act recklessly? However, at this time, Wang Feng laughed and said, Teacher Zhao, you trash. If you have the guts, release this vigorous Vajra Roar with all your strength. What kind of man are you to be afraid of? Hearing this, everyone in the distance was petrified. Looking at Wang Feng, a thought emerged in their minds. Does Wang Feng not want his life anymore? Zhao Wuji, kid, you asked for it. Even if I'm beaten up by the dean, I'll accept it. Today, if I don't let you lie in bed for a few days, my name isn't Zhao Wuji. Zhao Wuji's expression changed drastically. These words, if it were anyone else, would not be able to endure, let alone Zhao Wuji's temper. Zhao Wuji was like a raging bull stamping on the ground, both his feet stepping on the ground, the 6 spirit rings on his body slowly lighting up. This was the sign of spirit power circulating at full speed, except for the last one. Vigorous Vajra Roar. Zhao Wuji roared in a low voice. Boom! An even more berserk sound wave than before, condensed to the point of substance, was released from Zhao Wuji's mouth. Seeing this, Tang San and the others' expressions changed greatly. Dragging their weak bodies, they once again retreated backwards. Wang Feng's expression changed the moment he sensed the sound wave. All the bones in his body emitted a crisp sound. The internal organs in his body seemed to be twisted by a large force. Too strong. Wang Feng let out a muffled groan. This vigorous Vajra roar was at least twice as strong as before. Even if Zhao Wuji did not use his full strength, he still used at least 80 to 90% of his strength. Let alone a 50-something rank Spirit King. Even a 60-something rank Spirit Emperor might be finished on the spot. Although the quality of his body was strong, at most it was about the same as a 50-something ranked Battle Spirit Master, it was absolutely impossible for him to resist. However, knowing that he could not resist, how could Wang Feng be so stupid as to forcefully face it? So much so that he did not even hesitate to anger Zhao Wuji? It was very simple. Wang Feng needed to borrow this vigorous Vajra roar and draw support from the meteoric tier to temper his body. A crazy idea. It had already been a very long time since Wang Feng had reached that kind of state where his body surpassed its limits. Apart from the meteoric tier being used to compress and purify soul power, it had already been a very, very long time since he had felt the feeling of walking on a steel rope between life and death. Even if he fought with many formidable soul beasts with all his strength, he was still unable to make the meteoric tier gush out that kind of special energy to repair and strengthen his body. There was no way. The quality of his body was too strong, but right now, it was a superb opportunity. Zhao Wuji's vigorous Vajra roar was a kind of special sound wave attack. It covered an entire area. Its destructive power was astonishing. But to Wang Feng, it was a super perfect method to temper his body. He needed to borrow the power of Zhao Wuji's vigorous Vajra roar to make his body reach the limit of life and death, so that he could once again feel the warmth of the meteoric tier. Of course, this was actually very dangerous, and he would be finished if he was the slightest bit careless. But more often than not, true experts were able to break through and become stronger in extremely dangerous situations, rising from the ashes and rising from the ashes. The terrifying power brought about by the sound wave wreaked havoc on Wang Feng's body, and it was as if his entire body was being torn apart. The muscles in his body were being torn apart inch by inch, and his 5 viscera and 6 bowels, as well as his limbs and bones, were all being shaken by the power of this sound wave to the point that they were incomparably frightened. Wang Feng closed his eyes. This kind of pain that his entire body was feeling like it was being torn apart. And if it was a normal person, they would have already screamed in pain or even fainted. But to him, he didn't feel anything, and even a little nostalgic. This was still a little lacking compared to the first time his body was recast. Hurry up and come out. Because his spiritual will was extremely strong. The consequence of this kind of strength was that Wang Feng could clearly feel the pain that his body was suffering at every moment. But Wang Feng still persisted. This was a rare opportunity to greatly and comprehensively improve his body's quality. After this, even if Zhao Wuji used the vigorous Vajra roar again in the future, it wouldn't have such a good effect. Dozens of seconds later, finally, under Wang Feng's anticipation, a special energy that he hadn't felt in a long time surged out from his heart, slowly nourishing Wang Feng's body. That kind of carefree and comfortable feeling was completely indescribable with words. Every inch of his skin seemed to have been nourished. The energy that surged out from a meteoric tier circulated throughout his body, repairing every inch of his skin and bones, making them tougher and stronger. This was not something that the pure healing power of the Golden Lotus could compare with. It was more like a kind of marrow, cleansing valve body. At this time, Zhao Wuji, who was on the other side, suddenly came to his senses after using the vigorous Vajra roar, which contained almost 80% of his strength, and regretted it. Oh no, That brat's whole body is going to be shattered. The anger in Zhao Wuji's heart seemed to be extinguished by a splash of water. That brat's body was strangely strong, enough to stand shoulder to shoulder with a battle spirit master above rank 50. But this time, his vigorous Vajra roar was twice as strong as the last time. That brat looked like he still had some strength left. How could he withstand his roar without any injuries? Thinking like this, Zhao Wuji looked at Wang Feng with rapt attention. He saw that Wang Feng's eyes were closed, his five sense organs were bleeding, and his whole body was trembling uncontrollably. Obviously, he was already an arrow at the end of its flight. This directly made Zhao Wuji's heart suddenly sink, a field of ice cold. And at this time, Tang San and the others were even further away. Seeing this scene, were also frightened to the point of being shaken. Not good. Brother Feng was too careless. At the same time, oh no, I'm really muddle-headed. Zhao Wuji's heart was endlessly regretful. Just as he was about to condense his spirit power, close his mouth, and withdraw his vigorous Vajra roar. However, just at this time, in the distance, Wang Feng suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes flashed with a trace of radiance, and he suddenly shouted loudly, "Awesome!" His voice fell. In a split second, everyone present, including Zhao Wuji, were all stunned in place. Chapter 79. This vigorous shout shocked everyone on the scene. Great? You're already like this? You can still feel great? Wang Feng was indeed very happy. Feeling the surging power in his body after the meteoric tears marrow cleansing Val body and the replenished soul power, he really wanted to roar out loud. This time, Wang Feng could confidently say that if Zhao Wuji used the mighty Vajra roar again, he would not be in the same state as before. Even if he would still be injured, it would not be fatal. In fact, all aspects of his body had increased to different degrees. If he used the divine state on himself, Wang Feng was confident that he could withstand Zhao Wuji's mighty Vajra palm. One had to know that after he reached rank 30, the duration of his deified soul skill, as well as the degree of improvement, would increase, and it would increase exponentially. The initial divine soul skill would double the physical fitness, strength, speed, defense, and other aspects. And for every 10 levels of soul power, the increase would double. This amount of improvement was completely caused by Wang Feng's compression and purification of soul power. Otherwise, it would not be so exaggerated. This was also why he did not help Tang San, Xiao Wu, and Zhu Zhuqing when they fought with Zhao Wuji just now. Once this thing was activated, not to mention an incense sticks time, even if it took 5 incense sticks time, Tang San and the others could still hold on. But in this way, Zhao Wuji's test for Tang San, Xiao Wu, and Zhu Zhuqing was not very meaningful. Simply put, Wang Feng did not want the 3 of them to lose the opportunity to gain experience, but the duration was still 1 hour. At this time, Wang Feng's physical fitness had improved again, with a 3-fold increase. Compared to just now, it was like heaven and earth. Naturally, he was confident that he could withstand Zhao Wuji's mighty Vajra palm. It was the full-strength, mighty Vajra palm. But at this time, Zhao Wuji was directly choked, and his mind was full of question marks. Not only him, but Tang San, Daimu Bai, and the others were also dumbfounded. Although they were very far away, they were all soul masters and could see very clearly. Wang Feng's mighty Vajra roar, which was full of anger, directly shook his face to the point of bleeding. His whole body was trembling uncontrollably. This was obviously a situation where he was about to be finished. For him to be able to speak, it was truly outrageous. What he said was the word awesome. This was simply too outrageous. I must have misheard. Terminal lucidity? Zhao Wuji took a deep breath and looked over at Wang Feng again. This time his eyes went wide. In the distance, Wang Feng opened his eyes. His eyes were extremely bright and energetic, as if he had just consumed some great tonic. Zhao Wuji was dumbfounded again. Is this really what it looks like after eating my mighty Vajra roar? It was completely different from before. Could it be that my mighty Vajra roar has such a heaven-defying effect? Zhao Wuji shook his head in disbelief. At this moment, Wang Feng's aura seemed to have become even stronger. His entire body was emitting an extremely tyrannical feeling. Zhao Wuji, who was closest to Wang Feng, felt this the most clearly. Although this kid's soul power hasn't increased, the aura he's emitting has become much stronger. Zhao Wuji was shocked. What kind of monster was this? After eating at least 80% of his mighty Vajra roar, even a Soul King over level 50 would be finished in an instant. A Soul Emperor over level 60 would also be seriously injured and lose his combat strength. But not only was this kid fine, he even became stronger? Are you kidding me? Seeing this, Zhao Wuji's heart, which had sunk, suddenly rose. Even if he didn't know how this kid did it, fortunately, he was fine. Then roar. Zhao Wuji didn't withdraw the mighty Vajra roar that he was about to retract. Instead, he used a bit more soul power to increase its power. In an instant, the sky above the square seemed to have been shaken by this roar. The roar almost spread throughout the entire academy. It was like the roar of a ferocious tiger in the forest. The aura of the king of the forest covered the entire forest. On a big uncle on the other side of the academy. When this roar came, Oscar, who was snoring on the tree, suddenly woke up and accidentally fell down from the tree. He stood up while cursing and looked at the distant square. Damn, what's going on? Could it be that a large number of foreign enemies have invaded? To make teacher Zhao use such a perverted move like the mighty Vajra roar? Oscar was speechless. Sigh, you broke my beautiful dream just now. So annoying. I'd better go take a look. With that, Oscar walked towards the square. At the same time, in the square, accompanied by Zhao Wuji's mighty Vajra roar that increased its power by another level. This time, Wang Feng didn't sit still and wait for death. Teacher Zhao, do you think that you're the only one who has such a large-scale long-range soul skill? Wang Feng took a deep breath and said loudly while using his soul power to resist the sound waves of the mighty Vajra roar. There was no other way. Zhao Wuji's move made it impossible for him to get close. There was still a gap in soul power. But when everyone heard this, they were stunned again. Zhao Wuji also had some doubts in his heart. The meaning behind this kid's words. Could it be that he also had a similar soul skill? Impossible, right? This kid's martial soul and soul skill were all auxiliary. Wait, Zhao Wuji seemed to have thought of something and his pupils constricted. This brat seemed to have released a second soul skill. He had 2 soul rings. Furthermore, his second soul ring was a 10,000-year soul ring. Almost at the same time, Zhao Wuji reacted. Wang Feng, who was not far away, quietly opened his palm. Above the green lotus, a golden lotus bloomed. At the same time, a second lotus seed bloomed. It was a scarlet red that was incomparably scorching. But on the petals of the lotus flower, there was a faint layer of ice. It gave off an extremely strange feeling. But in this contradiction, there was a unique charm that caused people to be deeply attracted. It was hard to extricate oneself. Seeing this scene, everyone's eyes widened. What kind of strange martial soul was this? And it had 2 forms? Wang Feng circulated his soul power and surged towards the red lotus petal. Following that, he slowly plucked a petal, and the black soul ring on his body shone brightly. Second soul skill, Ice Flame Furious Lotus. Wang Feng slowly spat out a few words. Teacher Zhao, take this. With that said, Wang Feng threw the lotus petal in his hand towards Zhao Wuji. In midair, under the sunlight, this scarlet petal that was wrapped in ice emitted a light that seemed to want to devour everything. Zhao Wuji couldn't help but laugh when he saw Wang Feng take out a petal from the strange red lotus and throw it toward him. This brat, are you kidding me? Throwing a petal over and treating it as a long-range attack. What do you take me, Zhao Wuji, for? A fly? Zhao Wuji was both angry and amused. As he spoke, he retracted the mighty Vajra roar and planned to grab the petal and crush it. Right at this moment, Chapter 80. Just as he was about to reach out to grab it, Zhao Wuji's expression suddenly changed as the petals came closer and closer. No, there was something strange about these petals. However, it was already too late. Explode. A faint voice came from Wang Feng's mouth. The next moment, boom. The terrifying explosion was like a blooming ice fire red lotus, with Zhao Wuji as the center, blooming in the entire square. The sound of the explosion shook Tang San and the others in the distance. Their eardrums hurt as they looked at the center in shock. From the center, a hurricane-like wave of air directly spread out. Wherever it passed, everything was reduced to dust. Ice Fire Angry Lotus. Second Soul Skill. Back when Wang Feng was at level 20, he could instantly destroy everything within a 100-meter radius with this move. Now that he was at rank 30, it increased to a range of 200 meters. Its power was even more terrifying. According to Wang Feng's estimation, even a Soul King over rank 50 wouldn't be able to resist it. The flames in the explosion were already icicles, and they would cause great damage to the enemy. It was considered Wang Feng's most powerful move now. Furthermore, Wang Feng had studied this move in depth over the past 5 years. For example, if he detonated 2 or 3 petals at the same time, the power would be different. In fact, if he triggered the entire Red Lotus, what kind of power would that be? Ice Fire Angry Lotus * Ultimate Version. Abbreviation: Ice Fire Angry Lotus. However, Wang Feng didn't plan to release it here because it was too powerful and would definitely kill people. He could only use it as a trump card. At this moment, this large-scale explosion once again shocked everyone's eyes. They had never heard of an auxiliary-type soul master having such a terrifying soul skill with such a large-scale destructive power. This power, Dai Mubai trembled all over. Even if I activate the White Tiger Vajra transformation, I'm afraid I'll be shocked half to death inside. But Wang Feng is only at rank 30, and this is only his second soul skill. Even he, a rank 37 soul warrior, had said so. Tang San and Xiao Wu's face turned pale. Boo-hoo! How much strength did Brother Feng hide when he fought with us? Xiao Wu said with tears in her eyes. He must have hidden most of it. Such a powerful soul skill. It's too terrifying. Tang San shook his head. The power and damage caused by this move was several times more exaggerated than most of his hidden weapons. Moreover, the area it covered was too large. More than half of the square was almost covered. There wasn't even a place to hide. His martial spirit is so strange, Zhu Zhuqing said in a low voice. The few of them stared blankly for a moment before they realized what a strange martial spirit it was. It could actually have 2 forms? Furthermore, the 2 forms of martial souls had different abilities. This was too unsolvable. Teacher once said that Big Brother Feng also has twin martial souls. Could this be Big Brother Feng's other martial soul? Tang San thought to himself. Back at Nodding Academy, the Grand Master had said that he and Brother Feng both possessed 2 martial souls. However, he had never seen Brother Feng's second martial soul before. At this moment, Brat, your soul skill's explosive power isn't bad, but it's a pity that there's too much of a difference between our soul power and soul rings, so it can't deal much damage to me. If you were 20 levels higher, I might not be able to withstand it. Amidst the explosion, Zhao Wuji's voice slowly sounded as he laughed out loud. At this moment, he activated the immovable body of the Wisdom King, and his defensive power could be said to be invincible. Those flames and icicles were all blocked by him, and only a trace of ice scars and burns would occasionally appear on his skin. Of course, one Ice Fire Furious Lotus won't cause much damage to Teacher Zhao. Wang Feng smiled indifferently, and the soul power in his hand surged violently. Immediately after, he waved his hand, and several lotus petals appeared. But what if there are many of them? Explode, 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 explode for me. As soon as he finished speaking, this time, the smile on Zhao Wuji's face froze. In the air, it was as if countless salutes had sounded. Countless clouds of smoke rose from the square. The scorching air wave and the icy aura, two different forces, swept through the entire square. Tang San and the others stared blankly as they sucked in a few breaths of cold air. Ice and fire intertwined, and the scorching light shone on their faces with incomparable shock. This explosion lasted for several minutes. How many petals is this already? Dai Mubai said with a trembling voice. It's already not bad to be able to use such a perverted soul skill once or twice, right? How'd he do it like eating and drinking? Generally speaking, the stronger the soul skill, the higher the consumption. Especially large-scale soul skills, the consumption of soul masters was the highest. Just like in many games where AoE skills consumed the most mana, the same principle applied to soul power. There should be more than 20 petals, right? I took a look. Almost at the same time that Brother Phone plucked a lotus petal, that fiery lotus would automatically replenish itself and maintain 12 petals. Tang San's mouth was a little dry. This is even stronger than my hidden weapon. Such a powerful soul skill, it's impossible for an ordinary rank 40+ soul master to use it more than 20 times, right? Dai Mubai whispered. It's already very exaggerated for a rank 30 soul master to use it 3 or 4 times. That's a soul skill that comes with a 10,000-year soul ring. So the consumption should be even higher. Is he really only rank 30? In a daze, Dai Mubai thought of that exploding white crystal ball. Brother Feng's soul power should be a little different, Tang San answered after a moment of silence. Indeed, when Wang Feng was rank 20, he could only use the Ice Flame Furious Lotus 3 times. However, his soul power at that time was compressed and purified, so it was very durable and was equivalent to rank 30+ soul power. After 5 years of compressed soul power, Wang Feng only managed to cultivate to rank 30. In his words, he had already spent a lot of effort to get there. But at the same time, the benefits were huge. Wang Feng's current soul power was at least equivalent to rank 50. What he didn't lack the most was soul power. That was why he could explode more than 20 times in a row, until Wang Feng used up all his soul power. He shrugged and sighed, "AI, I'm out of soul power. Teacher Zhao, I really can't beat you. I admit defeat." Saying that, Wang Feng waved his hand confidently. At this time, as the bright mist of the fusion of ice and fire in the distance slowly dissipated, Zhao Wuji's figure was revealed. At this time, Zhao Wuji's entire body was covered with burn marks, bruises, and ice marks. His complexion was very bad. His clothes were also tattered, just like a beggar's. The most interesting thing was that half of Zhao Wuji's body was a scorching fiery color, while the other half was an icy blue covered with ice marks. It was like an ice and fire person. In the center of the square, a huge pit had appeared, and Zhao Wuji was lying in the middle. He staggered to his feet, and his injuries were obviously much worse than when he fought with Tang San just now. At this time, hearing Wang Feng's words, he was so angry that he laughed. Chapter 81. Everyone was also speechless. You admit defeat so easily. Teacher Zhao was already beaten to this state by you. No matter how you look at it, Teacher Zhao seems to be the loser, and you're the winner? Wang Feng whistled and walked towards Tang San and the others. Seeing that they were all looking at him in surprise, he sighed and said, "I've disappointed you all. In the end, I still couldn't beat Teacher Zhao." Everyone's mouth twitched. What? You really want to beat Teacher Zhao? At this time, Ning Rongrong, who was lying on Xiao Wu's shoulder, seemed to hear Wang Feng's words and slowly woke up. When Zhao Wuji used the mighty Vajra roar for the first time, she was an auxiliary-type soul master with an ordinary physique and had already fainted. She didn't see anything just now. When she woke up and heard Wang Feng's words, she couldn't help but be startled. She hurriedly comforted him in a low voice. "Wang Feng, don't be discouraged. Even if you lose, Teacher Zhao won't drive you away. Even if he drives you away, there are still many other good soul master academies." Wang Feng scratched his head. He just wanted to show off, so he said that. However, Ning Rongrong didn't see anything, so Wang Feng didn't know what to say. When everyone heard this, they couldn't help but laugh out loud. Even Zhu Zhuqing shook her head and smiled. Ning Rongrong looked at them with a blank face. Why are they laughing when I'm comforting them? Laugh, 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 you little brats, why are you laughing? Don't laugh. Zhao Wuji's cursing voice came. Ning Rongrong looked over and saw Zhao Wuji's extremely miserable appearance. She couldn't help but scream and ask in confusion, Teacher Zhao, didn't Wang Feng lose? Why are you like this? Zhao Wuji's face twitched slightly. Xiao Wu covered her mouth and secretly laughed a few times. She pulled Ning Rongrong and slowly told them the battle just now. Mubai, hurry up and call Oscar. I'm hungry and tired now. This kid shouldn't have any soul power to heal me. Zhao Wuji said. Although he was injured, Zhao Wuji still felt that the fight was quite enjoyable. He even used his 6th soul skill. Yet, this brat was a little too monstrous. From the very beginning, Hui Yuhao had unleashed his 1st soul skill and suppressed Tang Wulin. He was forced to use his true abilities and soul power combo in an attempt to suppress this brat. However, he didn't expect this brat to be able to dodge at the critical moment and even use reverse heaven and earth to counter his soul skill and injure himself. In the end, he had no choice but to use his 6th soul skill twice in a row. The second time, he had almost killed this brat, causing him to break out in cold sweat. Fortunately, this brat had strangely resurrected and became even stronger. He had even used his 2nd soul skill to blast him to the point where he couldn't retaliate at all. This battle could be said to be extremely exciting. It was also extremely strange. He was a rank 76 soul sage, and apart from his martial soul true body, he didn't hold back much of his strength, but he was still defeated by this brat. However, Zhao Wuji's anger dissipated when he thought about how this brat's eyes were closed. His facial features were bleeding, and his entire body was trembling. Wang Feng was also a little emotional. Zhao Wuji still hadn't used his true martial soul true body. If he used it, he would probably be defeated instantly. This was because the martial soul true body was considered a trump card of a soul sage. However, he also had trump cards that he hadn't used yet. Firstly, he still had close to 500 kilograms of weight on his body that he hadn't taken off. 2 years ago, Wang Feng had spent thousands of gold coins to forge a special protective tool. It was small in size, but it was made of super heavy metal. As he was already used to it, Wang Feng had forgotten to take it off just now. Wang Feng didn't use the true red lotus karmic fire. This thing was too terrifying. Once it touched him, he wouldn't be able to escape. Wang Feng wouldn't use such a trump card against Zhao Wuji in a life-and-death battle. There was also the ultimate version of the Ice Fire Furious Lotus. Wang Feng didn't dare to use it, as its range was too large. Everything within 1,000 meters would probably be flattened. Wang Feng also didn't use the Golden Lotus to temporarily increase his soul power. Temporarily increasing his soul power meant that it could increase his overall strength. Furthermore, as his rank increased, he could only temporarily increase his soul power by 1 level. At rank 30, he could increase his soul power by 3 levels. Of course, it was only temporary and would last for about an hour. But this was still very abnormal. Wang Feng didn't use it because he was at rank 30 and didn't have a soul ring, so he couldn't increase his soul power for the time being. If he was at rank 31, he could directly increase his soul power by 3 levels, temporarily reaching rank 34. One could imagine how much of an increase it would be. This kind of increase was purely an increase in rank. It had nothing to do with any compression or purification of soul power. Even Tang San and Little Wu only increased their soul power by 3 levels. There was also the extremely mysterious second martial soul. Wang Feng was a little confused about this second human-shaped martial soul. This was because he hadn't activated it once in the past 5 years. It only appeared when he absorbed the soul ring for the first time, and his consciousness was about to be devoured by the golden lightning leopard. But even so, Wang Feng knew that this second martial soul would definitely appear at a critical moment of life and death, or at some special moment. If these trump cards were really used, the situation would be unpredictable. Just the karmic fire of the Red Lotus was hard to say. Not long after, a scream was heard. Wow, are you guys going to tear down the house? How did our training square become like this? That soft and tender voice was heard. Of course, it was Oscar. Xiao Ao, why did you come here by yourself? Dai Mubai looked at Oscar walking over and said in surprise, Hurry up, don't talk nonsense. Give me some sausages and grilled sausages. The biggest characteristic of a food-type martial soul was that it could fill one's stomach in addition to various statuses. Dai Mubai and the others were hungry. The main reason was that they had used their soul power to resist Zhao Wuji's mighty Vajra roar just now, so they were very tired at this moment. And this extremely exciting battle could be said to have made their scalps go numb. Their minds were shocked, and it was like a roller coaster. They also felt a little tired mentally. There were too many details that could be recalled and thought about, and it also helped them a lot. Oscar looked at their tired faces and immediately said in joy, Hey, then I've come to the right place. I heard teacher Zhao's mighty Vajra roar just now and knew that you guys would definitely have a big battle. Don't worry, I've already prepared the grilled sausages and sausages. With that, Oscar took out the wrapped grilled sausages and sausages from his bag and placed them in front of everyone. 5 copper coins for one. Don't forget to pay after eating. When Wang Feng heard this, he couldn't help but look at Oscar. He was really not simple. He even had some business acumen. He knew how to make it in advance. However, Dai Mubai ate too and said, Although this guy's incantation is a little disgusting, the recovery effect of these sausages is really good. It can also fill the stomach. Do you guys want to try it? Chapter 82. Tang San hurriedly shook his head. He still couldn't eat it. I'm fine. You can ask them. However, Zhu Zhuqing didn't eat it either. Dai Mubai didn't want her to eat it either. Xiao Wu and Ning Rongrong were still chatting softly. They didn't eat it either. Wang Feng didn't stand on ceremony. He took the wrapping paper and finished one in a few bites. His soul power was indeed depleted. He was also a little hungry. Hey, the new juniors are too particular. You're more to my liking. Oscar looked at Wang Feng and chuckled. Wang Feng also smiled. Xiao Ao, give me 2. I'm hungry too. Zhao Wuji shouted in a low, muffled voice. His skin was still burning. One side was hot, while the other side was cold. It was very uncomfortable. He had to use his soul power to resist the two forces. However, it wasn't fatal. It was just uncomfortable. That feeling of being hot on one side and cold on the other, it was like ice and fire at the same time. Oscar walked over and was shocked when he saw Zhao Wuji. Teacher Zhao, did you change your appearance? There was no helping it. Zhao Wuji's current image was too shocking. Zhao Wuji was so angry that he raised his hand and wanted to slap this guy. Oscar hurriedly smiled and dodged. He threw the wrapped grilled sausages and sausages to Zhao Wuji. Little brat, you even dare to tease me. Zhao Wuji scolded as he took the grilled sausages and ate them in big bites. Oscar's sausages could be used to expel abnormal states. After eating it, the two colors on Zhao Wuji's skin started to fade. Boss Dai, what's going on? Oscar walked to Dai Mubai and asked softly. The situation was too strange. Oscar was curious. Dai Mubai coughed a few times. If this matter was exposed, Teacher Zhao would be too embarrassed. Fortunately, Wang Feng took the initiative to admit defeat in the end. He cleverly gave Teacher Zhao a way out. Dai Mubai thought to himself, Wang Feng is a monster. He seemed to admit defeat just now, but it was actually a very smart move. Nothing much, Wang Feng said with a smile. It's us newcomers who don't know the immensity of heaven and earth, so we asked Teacher Zhao to give us some pointers. As a result, we naturally lost miserably and were beaten by Teacher Zhao until our scalps went numb. Xiao San, don't you think so? Wang Feng glanced at Tang San. Tang San was stunned and hurriedly said, Yes, that's right. He secretly rejoiced in his heart. Big Brother Feng was smart. Everyone, Zhao Wuji, who was at the side, cursed this little rascal for being cunning. Now that he had said this, it was difficult for him to find trouble with them. The little bit of unhappiness in his heart also disappeared. She sure knows how to please people. Zhao Wuji glared at Wang Feng and scolded him in his heart. Is that so? Oscar looked at the square and the crater in the distance in confusion. He then looked at Zhao Wuji and Wang Feng. He had a look of disbelief on his face. Little A.O., come find me tomorrow. I'll give you a practical lesson. An auxiliary type soul master can't be too weak, right? Zhao Wuji's face sank as he said indifferently. Oscar, after eating 2 roasted sausages and dried sausages, Zhao Wuji recovered a lot. He glanced at them and said, Okay, Mubai, arrange for these guys to stay. Wang Feng, this crater in the square was made by you. Fill it up yourself. After Zhao Wuji finished speaking, he slowly left. Wang Feng, this crater would probably take a few hours to fill, right? Wang Feng was speechless, but there was nothing to say. This was indeed made by him. Wang Feng, you really beat teacher Zhao so badly just now. At this time, Xiao Wu seemed to have finished talking with Ning Rongrong. Ning Rongrong opened her mouth in surprise and looked at Wang Feng. You lied to us. You're not an auxiliary type soul master. Ning Rongrong didn't expect that after teacher Zhao used the mighty Vajra roar, there would be such a wonderful and abnormal battle. After fainting, Ning Rongrong felt like she had missed 100 million yuan. I'm also an auxiliary type soul master. Wang Feng said. In terms of ability, his auxiliary type soul master seemed to be much stronger than his offensive type soul master. Apart from the fact that the Golden Lotus could not create food, all of its auxiliary abilities were very comprehensive and super powerful. At least, in Wang Feng's memory, he couldn't find any auxiliary type martial soul on the Douluo continent that was comparable to the 12th rank virtuous Golden Lotus. Then what was the first soul skill you used before the battle, just now? Ning Rongrong looked at Wang Feng with a don't you dare lie to me look, but her eyes were shining brightly. There was an indescribable feeling in her heart. Today, Wang Feng had given her too many surprises. Now that she thought about it, it was no wonder that this bastard could defeat the 2 soul masters who robbed her in the blink of an eye. It turned out that he was actually so strong. Not only Ning Rongrong. Today, Tang San and Xiao Wu, who were most familiar with Wang Feng, also felt a great shock. For a long time, Wang Feng's strength was a mystery to the 2 of them. Now, the 2 of them could finally see Wang Feng's strength. However, Tang San and Xiao Wu didn't know that what they saw was still only a part of it. As for Dai Mubai and Zhu Zhuqing, there was no need to describe the shock in their hearts. Dai Mubai was extremely astonished by the abnormal healing ability at the beginning and the side effects of the reverse healing. Later on, he fought to his heart's content and had an extremely complicated battle with Zhao Wuji. As for the cold and silent Zhu Zhuqing, although she was shocked, she was more curious, but she didn't ask much. Deification, simply put, is to strengthen the various attributes of the body. Of course, it's an all-round improvement. Wang Feng looked at everyone's curious expressions and said with a smile, If there's a chance, I'll show it to all of you. You'll know then. There were too many things in this battle that Dai Mubai and the others couldn't understand. Dai Mubai and the others could understand a little about the physique that far exceeded that of a rank 30 soul warrior and the deification soul skill. But later on, the emptiness realm reversed the universe, including using the mighty Vajra roar to push the body to the limit, activating the meteoric tear and instantly reviving with full health. And the second soul skill, Ice Flame Furious Lotus, which seemed to be released without any soul power. Dai Mubai and the others couldn't understand it all. Even Zhao Wuji couldn't understand it. It was impossible to explain it clearly in a short time. That's fine too. You're all tired today. I'll bring you to the dormitory first. Dai Mubai nodded and left with Tang San, Xiao Wu, Zhu Zhuqing, and Ning Rongrong. Oscar gave Wang Feng 2 more sausages and left. Seeing everyone leave, Wang Feng couldn't help but think. A soul sage is a soul sage, after all. I've only been a soul sage for 6 years. It's not realistic to want to fight seriously. Wang Feng thought about today's battle. Scenes appeared in his mind like a 4K movie. He filtered the battle in his mind and thought, "The emptiness realm is very mysterious, but I can't use it freely. I can only use it at the critical moment." Wang Feng whispered. Chapter 83. If he could use it freely, at the very beginning, Wang Feng could directly enter the Void Realm state and even detect Zhao Wuji's soul skill combo in advance. There wouldn't have been that slap later. However, after entering it many times, Wang Feng also had a little experience and could quickly enter it at the critical moment. In the future, Wang Feng felt that he could enter it whenever he wanted sooner or later. As for Reverse Heaven and Earth, he could only use a close combat type soul skill to counterattack. If he could use a long-range soul skill to counterattack the opponent, Wang Feng felt that he would slowly master it. This battle gave Wang Feng a lot of gains. In addition to experience, the biggest gain was the improvement of his physical fitness. Unknowingly, the pit in the square was slowly filled by Wang Feng. At this time, the sky was also dark. The dormitory was also arranged by Dai Mu Bai. At night, Shrek Academy was quiet because during the day, except for Wang Feng's group, no other students were admitted, so there were not many people in the academy. At this time, Zhao Wuji was alone in his office. Tang San is a little monster. This Wang Feng is simply a monster among monsters. Zhao Wuji grimaced in pain. He has a powerful body, a terrifying soul, ring age, and a mysterious dual form, martial soul. That deified soul skill has at least doubled his strength. Otherwise, that punch wouldn't have caused so much pain to my immovable Kingming body. Other than that, how did he manage to dodge my soul skill combo? And the abnormal technique, Reverse Heaven and Earth. Who knows how this brat comprehended it by himself? Heaven is the bane of most soul warriors. And that second soul skill, Endless Soul Power. He really doesn't look like a rank 30 Soul Grandmaster. Even a rank 40 or 50 Soul Grandmaster may not be as exaggerated as him. This brat's soul power is definitely strange. Zhao Wuji didn't say it during the day, but when he thought about it at night, he was shocked. And this little guy is quite smart. Unlike Tang San, who is a little hedgehog, always stuffy. Zhao Wuji thought. Tang San's hidden weapon was too sinister and made him uncomfortable. If it was in the past, he would have killed him long ago, but now he was his student. Although he was a little depressed from being beaten, he still swallowed it. He still cherished this little hedgehog in his heart. Compared to him, Wang Feng was much smarter. During the fight, every punch and kick was forceful. Through various moves, he suppressed him until he had nothing to say. In the end, he gave him a way out. Although the result was also very miserable, Zhao Wuji didn't feel angry at all. Instead, he wanted to laugh. In the future, I have to properly train these little fellows. Zhao Wuji clenched his fist and smiled. However, at this moment, Zhao Wuji, a low and deep voice suddenly sounded in Zhao Wuji's ears. Instantly, Zhao Wuji was dumbfounded. He was a soul master. The soul power, soul grandmaster could create a unique aura around him. Not even the slightest movement could escape his senses. But now, Zhao Wuji's masters. Zhao Wuji suddenly stood up. Come out. The doors and windows suddenly opened. A cold wind blew in from the outside, causing the cold light in Zhao Wuji's eyes to scatter. Without any hesitation, Zhao Wuji jumped out of the window and followed the voice. He quickly walked out of the Shrek Academy's area and quickly shuttled through the forest. Not long after, Zhao Wuji stopped beside a big tree. The 7 soul rings on his body slowly lit up. Come out, I know you're here. A black figure walked out from behind the big tree. He was wearing a black robe, and his face couldn't be seen clearly. Who are you? Zhao Wuji's aura soared, and his cold and domineering gaze locked onto the figure in front of him. The black figure ignored the coldness in Zhao Wuji's tone and only said indifferently, "No one is here. I just want to exchange blows with you, the immovable Wisdom King and loosen my muscles and bones while I'm at it. As soon as he finished speaking, he waved his hand, and a huge purple hammer appeared in his hand. At the same time, 9 soul rings slowly rose from under his feet. 2 yellow, 2 purple, and 5 black. The moment he saw these soul rings, Zhao Wuji was dumbfounded and swallowed a mouthful of water. His cold tone almost instantly disappeared, and there was even a slight tremble in his voice. Title Douluo? The black figure walked towards Zhao Wuji step by step. Senior, please don't joke around. Zhao Wuji hurriedly bowed and retreated. How can I have the qualifications to exchange blows with you? Please don't bully a mere soul sage like me. Oh, the black figure said indifferently. Then during the day, didn't you have a lot of fun bullying those children? I also want to have a good time and experience the feeling of bullying the weak. Do you have any objections? Hearing this, Zhao Wuji was stunned and cursed in his heart. How did I have a good time? That little hedgehog made me feel uncomfortable all over. My entire body was covered in poison. That little monster behind me was even more abnormal. I didn't even touch him. However, Zhao Wuji didn't dare to say this. Right at this moment, a figure flew out from the forest in the distance. Your Highness Hao Tian, why are you in a mood to come to our small Shrek Academy? I don't know how Zhao Wuji offended you. I, friend, am willing to apologize to him. I wonder if you can give me some face. The moment the voice sounded, this figure landed steadily on the ground. 7 soul rings lit up on his body, just like Zhao Wuji. When Zhao Wuji heard the words Your Highness Hao Tian, he immediately sucked in a breath of cold air. He didn't understand why the top experts of the continent would come here. Cut the crap. Golden Iron Triangle, Cat Eagle Martial Spirit, Fland, I know you. Stand aside, or I'll beat you up too. Fland's gaze darkened, and Zhao Wuji hurriedly looked at him for help. Your Highness, you have to at least explain the reason, right? Fland said softly. Reason? The black-clothed man paused and said indifferently. After beating up the little ones, the old ones naturally have to come out and seek justice. It's only right and proper. Do it. Hearing this, the two of them instantly understood something. Zhao Wuji's face turned pale, and he hurriedly said, Your Highness, I'm innocent. I'm sure you must have seen the situation during the day. Although I beat up a few little ones, I didn't hit them hard. Furthermore, I've already been beaten up twice. It's already miserable enough. Zhao Wuji said it in a miserable and tactful manner, causing one's expression to change. His desire to survive was extremely strong. Fland, the black-clothed man. Silence. Incomparable silence. It was obvious that Fland and the black-clothed man knew about the situation during the day, especially that little monster, Wang Feng, who had beaten Zhao Wuji quite miserably, and he himself was not injured at all. The black-clothed man also seemed to be a bit strange. A moment later, you can avoid death, but you can't escape punishment. The black-clothed man coldly snorted, I'll give you a chance. In the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, I won't use my martial spirit to fight with you. If you can hold on for an incense stick to burn, I'll leave without saying a word. If you can't hold on, you have to do something for me. Finished. The black-clothed man's feet flashed, and he appeared beside Zhao Wuji. Bang bang. At this moment, miserable cries rang out from the forest. Wang Feng, who was in the plaza, seemed to have a premonition. After he had cleaned up the plaza, he walked out of the Shrek Academy and stood on top of an uncle. He looked at the strange movements in the distance, as well as the faint, miserable cries. He couldn't help but shake his head. I originally thought that after I beat you up, Uncle Hao would let you go. It seems that this is the will of the heavens. Teacher Zhao, I'm afraid you won't be able to escape this calamity. Chapter 84. The next morning, Wang Feng woke up from his meditation and slowly opened his eyes. His current soul power was in a state where it was not full yet. Ordinary soul masters would not be able to cultivate until rank 30. But Wang Feng was different. He had compressed and purified his soul power to reach rank 30, but in fact, it was not full yet. Simply put, He had reached rank 30, but his experience bar was not full yet. There was still room for compression and purification. However, after yesterday's battle, Wang Feng felt that his rank 30 soul power was about to be full. And it was also at this moment that a clear voice sounded in his mind. Shrek Academy card successful. Congratulations on obtaining a special mysterious tool, Martial Soul. Host has a 10,000-year soul ring. Obtained an additional reward. Soul ring limit increased. 2,000 years. Please choose. First, Golden Lightning Leopard Martial Soul. Second, Ice Ye Emperor Lizard Martial Soul. The moment the voice sounded, Wang Feng was startled. After coming to the Shrek Academy, it was reasonable to say that he had also joined the Shrek Academy, but he had not heard the system's voice. He did not expect to suddenly hear it now. It just so happened that his soul power was almost full at rank 30, so it sounded. In other words, rank 30 soul power was the key to unlocking it, and the 10,000-year soul ring was just an additional reward. Soul ring limit. This must be the Golden Lightning Leopard Soul Ring. 2,000 years. It's a bit exaggerated. This is an additional reward. After Wang Feng finished choosing, he felt that the purple soul ring surrounded by the green lotus in his body had become a little darker. Soul ring limit should bring about a partial increase in soul skills. I wonder how much it will enhance the Divine Eye's skills? Wang Feng pondered. In addition, Wang Feng also felt a warm current flowing through his body. First, it flowed into the meteoric tear in his heart, and after being compressed and purified, it turned into soul power, causing his soul power to reach rank 30. Wang Feng was somewhat helpless about this. For ordinary soul masters, a 2,000-year soul ring could increase their soul power by a lot. But for him, who had compressed and purified his soul power, the amount of increase was very limited. However, the Divine Eye's soul skill should have some increase. My first soul ring is now 8,000 years. Wang Feng was slightly excited. In the Douluo continent, the increase in the soul ring limit was only possible at the late stage. I didn't expect to be able to increase it now. In addition, my current physical fitness is incomparably strong. It's like icing on the cake. The system probably didn't expect him to compress and purify his soul power. Otherwise, the increase in the upper limit of 2,000 years would have given him a huge boost. By the way, what is the mysterious tool, Martial Spirit? Wang Feng frowned. Just as he was thinking this, suddenly, Wang Feng's mind jolted. His vision gradually became blurry. The surrounding scenery instantly became illusory and illusory. Wang Feng's spirit seemed to have entered a mysterious space, just like when he had awakened his chaotic green lotus martial spirit. Where is this? Where's your martial soul? Wang Feng took a deep breath and looked around. It was pitch black, and there was nothing. After an unknown period of time, Wang Feng kept walking. Suddenly, the entire space seemed to tremble. Wang Feng could sense that something terrifying had been awakened. Immediately after, a violent roar came from far away. What a terrifying roar! Wang Fengxin felt a chill run down his spine. For a moment, he felt as if he was going to die. There seems to be light in front. Wang Feng suddenly looked into the distance. Wherever the light reached, terrifying tremors could be heard. It seemed to be chopping something. Looking up and facing the light, Wang Fengxin was startled and vaguely thought of something. After an unknown period of time, rumble. In the pitch-black world, the crack in the sky became bigger and bigger. With the light, Wang Feng could finally see the scene in the distance. He saw a giant that was as tall as heaven and earth, holding an ancient axe in his hand. Stepping on the rhythm of the earth, he chopped the chaotic sky again and again. F***CK is this? Pangu splitting the heaven and earth? Wang Feng was dumbfounded. He did not expect to see such a scene. He did not know if it was an illusion or real. After a long time, with the giant's final attack, the chaotic dark sky was split into two from afar. Suddenly, the giant seemed to be aware of Wang Feng's existence. He turned around and swung his axe at him. Seeing the ancient and majestic axe coming at him, Wang Feng was dumbfounded. The axe was aimed at Wang Feng's forehead, but did not split Wang Feng in half. Instead, it imprinted itself between Wang Feng's eyebrows. Wang Feng's mind was shaken, and he lost consciousness again. The last thing he saw was the giant who had thrown the axe at him slowly falling to the ground. The breath he exhaled turned into wind and clouds. His left eye turned into the sun, and his right eye turned into the moon. His limbs and body turned into the 4 poles of the earth and the 5 mountains of the 5 directions. His blood turned into rivers, his muscles turned into soil, his hair turned into the stars in the sky. His body hair turned into all kinds of strange flowers and herbs. His teeth, bones, and marrow turned into all kinds of rare treasures. Even the sweat on his body turned into dew and sweet rain. The last scene cleared Wang Feng's mind. Is it really Pangu? Is that axe the Pangu axe that Pangu used to split open the heaven? This mysterious tool, martial spirit, is the Pangu axe that Pangu used to split open the heaven? Wang Feng fainted. When he woke up, he was drenched in sweat. Wang Feng was the only one in this room, so there was no one else. Wang Feng's face was pale, and he looked like he was about to collapse. It was a kind of mental collapse. Pangu axe, the tool martial spirit given by the system, if it's really this, isn't it too abnormal? Wang Feng felt a little incredulous. At the same time, the system's voice sounded again. Ding! The next check-in location is rank 40 in the depths of the Great Stardow Forest. There will be an additional special reward if you have a soul ring of more than 30,000 years. Wang Feng didn't really listen to the system's voice. His mind was full of the Pangu axe. Wang Feng closed his eyes and immersed his mind in his sea of consciousness, only to see a mysterious and ancient axe circling above the chaotic green lotus in the center. It's true. Wang Feng suddenly opened his eyes and opened his left palm. The soul power in his body vibrated slightly, and an ancient axe, exuding an ancient and grand aura, appeared in front of Wang Feng's eyes. Although it was only in the form of a martial spirit, Wang Feng felt like he was seeing the scene of the creation of heaven and earth. Wang Feng clenched his fist and kept the axe. His face turned pale again. I didn't expect my third martial spirit to be such a terrifying thing. Wang Feng shook his head. He felt that it was extremely absurd. Wang Feng felt that more than half of his soul power had been used up when he used his soul power to manifest his martial spirit. This axe that could split open the heaven was not something that could be used easily. It was a divine item that could split open the heaven and earth. Even if it was only in the form of a martial spirit, Wang Feng didn't dare to imagine its power. Chapter 85. The Clear Sky Sex Clear Sky Hammer is known as the strongest tool martial soul in the Douluo continent. It's also the best assault-type martial soul. I wonder, how different is it compared to the heaven-splitting Pangu axe? Wang Fengxin was a little excited. The power of the heaven-splitting Pangu axe might be far beyond his imagination. However, if he wanted to use it, he probably wouldn't be able to do so without rank 40 soul power. Other soul masters might not even be able to use the heaven-splitting Pangu axe when they were at rank 60 or 70. Compared to the chaotic green lotus, the heaven-splitting Pangu axe was much more terrifying. Was it because he saw the opening of heaven and earth? I'll take a bath and go out to find something to eat. Wang Fengxin was moved. I might meet Ma Hongjun outside the village. I can go and take a look later. To be honest, Wang Feng's deepest impression of the Shrek 7 monsters wasn't the main character's mistress or the 2 girls. It was Ma Hongjun. It was mainly because of his martial soul. It was the dream of many men. The funniest thing was that he was only officially single when the finale was about to come. After taking a bath, Wang Feng walked out of the Shrek Academy. He walked along the small path in the village and looked at the surrounding farmland. Not long after, he heard fighting sounds in front of him. Along with an angry voice, a voice rang out. "Who are you calling a chicken?" Wang Feng laughed and walked over when he heard the word chicken. Sure enough, he saw Xiao Wu and a little fatty fighting in front of him. That little fatty was slightly shorter than Xiao Wu. He was about 1.6 meters tall and looked rather cute. At this moment, he was so angry that his hair was standing on end. Coupled with his martial spirit, his hair looked like a coxcomb. There were also some feathers growing on his arms. He really did look like a chicken. He had 2 yellow soul rings. His soul power should be the same as Tang San's. The evil phoenix is a top-tier martial soul on the continent, but it's not complete yet. Wang Feng watched from aside. I wonder if my red lotus will be able to absorb his flames. The red lotus had the ability to absorb flames. Not long after, little fatty Ma Hongjun was knocked to the ground by Xiao Wu's waistbow soul skill, but he quickly stood up. Xiao Wu also took off her shoes that were covered in purple flames and looked at it in surprise. The two of them should be evenly matched. Wang Feng pondered. Tang San's blue-silver grass was restrained by Ma Hongjuan's purple flames, so it could only be a bystander. Unless he used a hidden weapon, it wouldn't be good to fight 2 against 1. At this moment, in the distance, Xiao Wu seemed to have caught sight of Wang Feng, and her eyes glistened as she said, "Brother Feng, over here." This little fatty was openly bullying an innocent woman here. "Come and help us." Hearing the voice, Ma Hongjun couldn't help but turn his head to look. He saw a tall and handsome youth walking over with a smile. F***CK, is there any justice? Where did this guy come from? He's even more handsome than Boss Dai. Ma Hongjun looked at Wang Feng with jealousy and bitterness. He could not help but reveal some hostility in his eyes. The more handsome you are, the more fat you are. Stop fighting. I think you've misunderstood. Wang Feng walked over and said with a smile. He did not have the intention to fight. Xiao Wu, I saw that when you used your waistbow to knock down this little brother, that girl didn't have the heart to do it. They should be in a relationship and want to break up, right? Hearing this, Xiao Wu and Tang San were stunned. They had just arrived and thought that this little fatty was pulling the girl. Naturally, they thought that he was flirting with her. So, stop fighting. Let's reconcile, Wang Feng said. He was not in a mood to fight with Ma Hongjun. Besides, when Dai Mubai came later, they would also reconcile. Tang San and Xiao Wu looked at the girl called Sui Hua and saw that she did not have the heart to do it. They could not help but understand a little. That's right. Stop fighting. Hongjun and I are doing it for our own reasons. Seeing the two of them stop, Sui walked over gently and patted the dust on Ma Hongjuan's body with a concerned look. Hearing this, Tang San and Xiao Wu felt embarrassed again. It seemed that they had really misunderstood her. Reconcile? You want to reconcile after beating me up? Get out of my way. Ma Hongjun did not give up. Just now, he was kicked to the ground by this little rabbit, which made him angry. You want to reconcile just like that? Originally, because of the breakup, the evil fire in his heart was strong and the anger came from his heart. At this moment, he was very irritable. How could he agree so easily? If you want to reconcile, then beat me first. Ma Hongjun pushed Sui Hua away and looked at Wang Feng arrogantly. Wow, you little fatty. Even if you're a boyfriend and girlfriend, you can't bully others. I wanted to apologize to you, but you still don't want to let me go. Xiao Wu immediately exploded and said coquettishly, Brother Feng, beat him up. If you don't beat him up, he won't be honest. Beat me up? Ma Hongjun sneered, then come. After saying that, Ma Hongjuan's martial soul, evil fire phoenix, suddenly lit up. Phoenix possession. Kid, I saw that she was a girl just now, so I held back. You are a man, so I won't show any mercy. Ma Hongjun shouted, second soul skill, fire phoenix. A yellow soul ring lit up from Ma Hongjuan's body. A layer of purple flames burned all over his body, forming the appearance of a phoenix. But his image was too bloated and looked a little funny. Brother Feng, be careful. This little fatty's flame is very difficult to deal with. Once attached, it is very difficult to extinguish. Tang San hurriedly reminded when he saw the situation. Just now, this little fatty did hold back a little, giving Xiao Wu a chance to get close. Otherwise, just the flame alone would be very difficult to deal with. However, Wang Feng stood in the same place, not moving at all. So calm? Are you looking down on me? Ma Hong-jun suddenly became angry. He was one of the 3 students of Shrek's Monster Academy, and he was also personally accepted as a disciple by the dean. Naturally, he had some pride. When he fought with Xiao Wu just now, he had some intention to have some protective feelings for the fairer sex, so he attacked a little softly. He didn't want to really burn Xiao Wu. Now it was different. This young man was so handsome, and he wanted to be a peacemaker. Who was Ma Hong-jun? You want to reconcile? Just because of your handsome face? Ma Hong-jun, can't let you go. The anger in his heart seemed to stimulate Ma Hong-jun's soul power. He opened his mouth and spat out a scorching purple flame at Wang Feng. Almost in an instant, Wang Feng, who didn't dodge, was completely enveloped by the purple flame. I'll burn you until you scream. Ma Hong-jun was stunned. He didn't expect this young man to fall for it so easily. He thought to himself, that little beauty called him Brother Feng. Her strength shouldn't be bad, right? Could it be that he's a silver spearhead, beautiful but useless? Chapter 86. At the same time, Tang San and Xiao Wu screamed subconsciously. But at this moment, a laugh came from the purple flame. The temperature of the flame is not bad, but it's still not enough to make me scream. Hearing the voice, they were stunned. Immediately after, they saw an extremely strange scene. Wang Feng, who was engulfed in purple flames, suddenly extended his hand, from which a crimson-red lotus blossomed. The next moment, all the purple flames instantly formed a spiral and directly poured into the red lotus. It can be absorbed. Wang Feng looked at the red lotus with a smile. It was just as he guessed. But Ma Hong-jun, who saw this scene, opened his mouth wide. It was as if he had seen this for the first time. My flame? It was actually absorbed? Isn't this my nemesis? Ma Hong-jun wailed in his heart. Brother Feng's martial soul is so powerful. It can actually absorb that little fatty's special flame. Xiao Wu said excitedly. Tang San also thought to himself, Brother Feng's martial soul is really strange. The 2 forms were truly marvelous. It could even absorb that flame. Little fatty, you can restrain my martial soul, but you didn't expect your own martial soul to be restrained by others, right? Tang San couldn't help but shake his head and laugh. As the saying goes, the heavens are reincarnated, and Brother Feng happens to be your nemesis. Ma Hong-jun, I don't believe it. Ma Hong-jun rubbed his eyes and didn't want to believe the truth. His soul ring lit up, and Ma Hong-jun was about to use his first martial soul, Phoenix Fireline. But at this moment, whoosh, a figure flashed in front of him. A huge fist suddenly appeared in front of Ma Hong-jun's eyes. The strong wind brought about by the fist made the hair on Ma Hong-jun's head sway left and right. Gulp! Ma Hong-jun was stunned on the spot and swallowed a mouthful of water. He didn't even have time to use his soul skill. Cold sweat trickled down from his forehead. So fast, he couldn't see the figure at all. My fist, do you think it's big? Wang Feng said with a smile. Yes, it's a little big. Ma Hong-jun nodded like a chick pecking rice. Reconcile? Yeah. Ma Hong-jun hurriedly said with a smile. Only then did Wang Feng withdraw his fist. Xiao Wu burst out laughing. This little fatty was such a coward. Tang San was also speechless. Ma Hong-jun narrowed his eyes at Wang Feng. The shock in his heart was indescribable. Where did this monster come from? Not only did it restrain his martial soul, but it was also so fast. I didn't even have a chance to use my soul skill earlier. If that punch landed, Ma Hong-jun felt a lingering fear. Hey, Tang San, Wang Feng, why are you here? In the distance, Dai Mubai was neatly dressed. His golden hair was slightly tilted back as he walked over gracefully. Dai Mubai walked over and looked around at the traces of battle. He glanced at Ma Hong-jun. Tiger Dai, this guy was bullying his girlfriend just now. Don't you think it's infuriating? Big Brother Feng stood out to reconcile, but he wasn't convinced. Now he's scared of Big Brother Feng, right? Xiao made a funny face at Ma Hong-jun. Dai Mubai grunted. He seemed to have guessed what had happened. He couldn't help but shake his head and say, Actually, you misunderstood. I'll tell you directly. Fatty, Don't stand behind me. Dai Mubai pulled Ma Hongjun out and explained, his name is Ma Hongjun. He's a student of our Shrek Academy. Tang-san, do you remember I told you yesterday that our Shrek Academy only has 3 students? Could it be that he's one of them? Tang-san looked at Ma Hongjun in astonishment. Dai Mubai nodded and continued. What happened just now was actually Ma Hongjun's martial soul. Oh, Phoenix martial soul. After saying that, Dai Mubai looked at Ma Hongjun and seemed to want to laugh. To be precise, it's called the Evil Phoenix. It's a mutated martial soul. Ma Hongjun added. Mutated? Tang-san and Xiao Wu were both surprised. Mutated martial souls were very rare. Some mutated martial souls mutated in the direction of becoming stronger, while some mutated in the direction of becoming weaker. Obviously, this fatty's mutated martial soul was the kind that mutated to become stronger. A martial soul like the Phoenix was extremely rare. Because Wang Feng knew about it, he wasn't too surprised. Although it's a mutated martial soul that's extremely powerful, this evil Phoenix has the word evil in it. It means that this martial soul will cause the soul master to produce waves of evil fire. The evil fire will increase the male's impulses and will become extremely strong. If it's not vented, it will lead to extremely serious consequences. Dai Mubai shook his head helplessly. Suhua probably couldn't stand Ma Hongjun's excessive impulses, so she broke up with him. After listening to him, Tang-san and Xiao Wu looked at Ma Hongjun with a strange expression, frowning and not saying anything. You can't blame me for this. As long as I cultivate, I will definitely have this kind of impulse. Otherwise, I will die from the fire. Moreover, we are all willing parties. I didn't force anyone. Ma Hongjun added. Xiao Wu snorted. She felt that the Shrek Academy really had all kinds of monsters. If you didn't force her, why would Suhua break up with you? Ma Hongjun's face flushed red. At this time, Wang Feng couldn't help but laugh. If this guy Ma Hongjun was in his previous life, he would definitely be a duck king when he grows up, the favorite of rich women. But later on, as he cultivated, the characteristics of the evil Phoenix slowly disappeared. She wondered if he would regret it. Naturally, it's because Miss Suhua couldn't bear this Phoenix's request. 3 or 4 times a day, no one can bear it. Because of this, Ma Hongjun has to break up with her several times a year. No girl can bear it. That's why this scene happened. Dai Mubai laughed loudly. Xiao Wu's face turned red. As a fledgling, Tang-san was also speechless. He felt that the academy was really strange. There were all kinds of people here. What are you laughing at? Ma Hongjun stared at Dai Mubai and sneered. Aren't you also rushing 3 times a day and going on dates with different girls? If I had your face, I wouldn't be like this either. What nonsense are you talking about? Dai Mubai was stunned. He looked around and whispered, Fatty, lower your voice. This is just a small matter. Why are you shouting? Don't mention this in the future. It was a waste of youth if he wasn't romantic. He, Dai Mubai, was also a romantic youth. Wang Feng thought of the twin beauties that Dai Mubai carried when he left the Rose Hotel. It was quite normal. Which man or woman didn't have romantic affairs when they were young? Even in his previous life, who didn't have a few relationships? Even if they didn't, there were still a few people in their hearts that they couldn't forget. Even as an otaku, Wang Feng couldn't help but think of his previous life. Hey, Boss Dai, you've turned over a new leaf today? I'm impressed, Ma Hongjun said with a smile. Dai Mubai snorted and said, Follow me first. I'll take you to the cafeteria to eat. After eating, immediately gather at the academy. Chapter 87. Shrek's cafeteria was simple and crude. The rooms were made of mud bricks, and it reminded Wang Feng of the countryside. The villagers they hired were still using mud stoves and large iron pots. The food they cooked was still okay, and the portions were large. At this moment, Zhu Zhuqing and Ning Rongrong were both in the cafeteria. Seeing Tang San and the others arrive, Ning Rongrong smiled and waved at Xiao Wu. The two stayed in the same room and were very close. Zhu Zhuqing nodded slightly at the group of people as a form of greeting. The group quickly finished their meal and rushed to the academy. Ahem, since we're still some distance away, let me introduce you. Dai Mubai walked in front and pointed at Ma Hongjun. This is Ma Hongjun, the last student of Shrek. This is Tang San, Xiao Wu, Zhu Zhuqing, Ning Rongrong, and Wang Feng. Dai Mubai pointed at the four of them in turn. Ma Hongjun's eyes lit up. Unfortunately, Xiao Wu seemed to have said something to Ning Rongrong when they were eating just now. Of the two girls, one was cold and arrogant while the other didn't even look at Ma Hongjun. Ma Hongjun smiled helplessly. When Dai Mubai pointed at Zhu Zhuqing quickened her pace and walked directly to the front. Yo, Boss Dai, it seems like you've met your nemesis. She didn't even look at you. I feel better now. Ma Hongjun's gloominess finally subsided a little as he smiled. Dai Mubai's expression was a little ugly, but he only smiled bitterly and didn't say anything. Zhu Zhuqing, Dai Mubai. Wang Feng shook his head. Speaking of which, Zhu Zhuqing and Dai Mubai were engaged since they were young. They were officially engaged. No one else had the right to interfere with their matters. Not long after, a group of people arrived at the academy's main square. They lined up in a row and stood in place. After a while, Oscar, who had shaved, walked over leisurely with a grilled sausage in his mouth. She had to admit that Oscar was quite handsome with his beard. However, the girls did not look at him. There was nothing he could do about it. With a grilled sausage in his mouth, he didn't look too good. Moreover, the appearance of a middle-aged man at the front attracted the attention of several people. Wang Feng looked over with rapt attention. This person was the dean of the Shrek Academy, the four-eyed eagle Frant. He was the one who had come up with all the advanced concepts of the Shrek Academy. Flinder was about 50 years old. He had a sturdy body and walked steadily and powerfully. His appearance was quite unique. He wore a pair of square, black crystal glasses. His chin was a little protruding, and his eye sockets were deep. He gave people a sense of cunning. Uncle Profiteer? Xiao Wu said in surprise. What Profiteer? This is our dean, the four-eyed catbird Frant. He's a rank 78 soul sage, and he's even more powerful than Teacher Zhao. Speak softly. If he hears you, you'll be in trouble. Oscar reminded her. Rank 78. Xiao heaved a sigh of relief. She felt lucky. At this moment, Flinder walked in front of the 8 people. He glanced at them and said slowly, Not bad. I didn't expect that there would be 5 new little monsters this year. I won't say much. You guys went through a battle with Teacher Zhao yesterday. I'm sure you guys haven't recovered yet. Mubai. Later, you will tell them about the rules and regulations of the academy, and then take them to have a good rest. Today's first class will begin at night. Oscar, Ning Rongrong, Wang Feng, the 3 of you follow me. Dai Mubai quickly walked out and responded. He first explained the rules of the academy to Tang San, Xiao Wu, and the others. Oscar walked out with a bitter smile. He probably knew what was going on. Wang Feng was also curious. Why'd he call me out? Is he going to run laps to train too? But this won't help me at all. Flinder probably won't do that. To be honest, Wang Feng came to Shrek Academy mostly because of curiosity. Plus, this was the place to check in. That's why he came. If he really wanted to learn, he had to rely on himself. The 3 of you are support-type soul masters. Flinder looked at the 3 of them and said indifferently, and support-type soul masters are often the weakest existences on the battlefield. They also need the protection of their teammates. If they're not careful, their lives will be in danger. Now, tell me, what's the most important thing for support-type soul masters in a battle? After saying that, Flinder looked at Oscar first. Oscar thought for a moment and said, It should be to hide behind your teammates as much as possible. Trust your own roars and leave your back to your teammates. At the same time, use the terrain and buildings to avoid danger and stay away from dangerous areas. It was a very orthodox and correct answer. Flinder nodded and looked at Ning Rongrong as if he was asking. The most important thing is, of course, to find a place to hide after giving your teammates a buff. Ning Rongrong said in a soft and gentle voice. She spoke in a straightforward manner. Hearing this, Flinder couldn't help but laugh, and Oscar also laughed. Wang Feng thought to himself, This is Ning Rongrong's difference. She was spoiled since she was young and basically didn't consider her teammates. After all, in the Seven Treasure Glazed Tile sect, everyone took the initiative to revolve around her. She didn't need to rely on her teammates at all. She was even used to this kind of thing. Wang Feng, what do you think? Why do you want to become a support-type Soul Master? At this moment, Flinder's gaze fell on Wang Feng. Ning Rongrong and Oscar also looked at Wang Feng, as if they wanted to hear his answer. Wang Feng smiled and said, I think that a qualified support-type Soul Master can fight, resist, and escape. As for why I want to be a support-type Soul Master, it's very simple. I'm too strong. If I'm not a support-type Soul Master, my teammates won't have a chance to attack at all. After saying that, Flinder, Oscar, Ning Rongrong, the three of them were stunned. This simple sentence contained extreme confidence and arrogance. The corner of Flinder's mouth directly twitched. What did he mean by, if you're not a support-type Soul Master, your teammates won't have a chance to attack? Too arrogant. But thinking about it, this kid does have the qualifications to be arrogant. Flinder grinned and then laughed loudly. This kid was to his liking. He finally knew why that fellow, Zhao Wuji, liked this kid so much. This kid was even more arrogant than Zhao Wuji. As a member of Shrek Academy, you can be weak, but you can't be a coward. And you can't be afraid of causing trouble. This was the main purpose of their academy. Bragging. Ning Rongrong blushed and glared at Wang Feng. Although these words sounded a little boastful, it was the first time Ning Rongrong heard someone define a support-type Soul Master like this. She felt that it was very novel and also very arrogant, but she didn't dislike it and was even a little happy. Chapter 88. Amazing. Oscar glanced at Wang Feng and couldn't help but sigh in his heart. What Wang Feng said should be the ultimate meaning and dream of an auxiliary-type Soul Master, right? Ahem. Flinder coughed twice and continued. Not bad, can fight, can resist, and can escape. These short words are summed up very well. If you can achieve these 3 points, you are indeed a qualified auxiliary-type Soul Master. And among them, the ability to escape is crucial. So today, Oscar, Ning Rongrong, the two of you, run 20 laps around the village. If you don't finish by noon, you don't have to eat lunch. Wang Feng, you're responsible for monitoring the two of them to complete their training. Flinder's eyes flashed, and he said lightly. Hearing this, Wang Feng was stunned and thought, is the trajectory of history finally going to change because of me? Flinder actually asked me to monitor the two of them? After that, Flinder walked towards Tang, San in the distance. After Flinder left, Wang Feng thought for a while and seemed to think of something. He couldn't help but curse in his heart. This cunning old fox. What are you looking at? Hurry up and run. Wang Feng snappily looked at Oscar and Ning Rongrong and said bluntly. Hearing this, Ning Rongrong snorted and took the lead to run out. Oscar followed closely behind. On the other side, after Flinder and Tang Sin talked for a while, he returned to the office. Coincidentally, Zhao Wuji was also there. I say, Flinder, why did you let Wang Feng monitor the two of them? What are you planning? Zhao Wuji asked curiously. He was in the office, so naturally, he saw everything that had happened just now. I guess your mother's leg. Hurry up and say it. Zhao Wuji scolded with a smile. The two of them had a good relationship. But at this time, Zhao Wuji didn't know what this cunning old fox was planning. Ning Rongrong is the eldest daughter of the Seven Treasure Glazed Tile sect. She's been pampered since she was young and can't take any hardship. She won't be able to complete the training. Flinder looked at the sky and said with a smile, if she can't complete it, I'll naturally teach her a lesson at night. With this little girl's temper, I'll definitely give her a big blow. However, I have no choice but to do so. Otherwise, she won't be able to change the arrogant and willful temper that she inherited from the Seven Treasure Glazed Tile sect. So, you're afraid that the Seven Treasure Glazed Tile sect will make trouble for us? Zhao Wuji seemed to understand a little. Flinder shook his head and took out a letter from his bosom. That's not it. This is a letter from Ming Fengji. He wants us to discipline this girl well. Then what are you afraid of? Zhao Wuji looked at the letter. That was an imperial sword, after all. What do you know? Flinder glared at Zhao Wuji. Although Ning Fengji asked us to discipline her, he won't interfere. But have you forgotten that the seven-treasure glazed tile sect still has two title Douluo? One of them, the sword Douluo, dotes on this girl the most. If he knows that we teach Ning Rongrong a lesson, even if he's afraid of Ning Fengji, he won't find trouble with our Shrek Academy. But what if he comes to find me alone? Have you forgotten how the vast sky Douluo beat you up? Hearing this, Zhao Wuji's expression changed drastically. He had naturally heard of the sword Douluo's name. Thinking back to last night in the forest, Zhao Wuji's face twitched. Flinder was afraid that he would suffer the same fate as him. If we bully her too much, the sword Douluo will definitely come looking for us. Not to mention the academy, the sword Douluo will definitely come looking for us. He would definitely be like the vast sky Douluo. If you bully the young, the old will definitely come to vent his anger. Not to mention anything else, he would definitely beat Flinder up. So you're leaving it to Wang Feng? Zhao Wuji gasped. This kid is also a thorn. With his character, if Ning Rongrong doesn't complete the task, he will definitely teach her a lesson. Who knows? He might even be more ruthless than you, not giving you any face at all. This kid isn't afraid of anything. At that time, even if the sword Douluo comes, he will only find trouble with this kid. He will inevitably be beaten up. Good, Flinder, you're as cunning as a fox. Zhao Wuji immediately scolded with a smile. Flinder smiled and didn't say anything. Ning Rongrong and Oscar ran out, while Wang Feng followed behind leisurely. He couldn't help but curse Flinder in his heart. After Flinder left, Wang Feng also understood why he was asked to monitor Ning Rongrong and Oscar. This was simply a diversion of trouble. Flinder had a letter from Ning Rongrong's father, Ning Fengji. Naturally, he wouldn't be afraid of the seven-treasure glazed tile sect finding trouble with the academy. However, if Wang Feng remembered correctly, the seven-treasure glazed tile sect had two title Douluo. One of them, the sword Douluo, doted on Ning Rongrong the most. If he knew that Ning Rongrong was bullied by him, although he wouldn't find trouble with the academy, he would definitely be like Tang Hao and beat up whoever taught Ning Rongrong a lesson. Flinder definitely knew about yesterday's battle and knew his character. That was why he asked him to monitor Ning Rongrong. If Ning Rongrong couldn't complete the task, he would definitely teach her a lesson. If he didn't do anything, then he would be admitting defeat. Once he taught Ning Rongrong a lesson, if the sword Douluo found out, needless to say, he would definitely come and beat him up like how he beat up Zhao Wuji. 2F** King Cunning. Wang Fengxin was angry and amused at the same time. He had to admit that Flinder's move was ingenious. He was really shrewd with age. Do you think I'm afraid? Wang Feng snorted coldly. So what if he's the sword Douluo? If I can be beaten up by him, I might be able to break through in the distance. How long has it been? Why haven't I completed a lap yet? Ning Rongrong panted slightly. Although in the sect, her father also asked her to exercise and run frequently, and Dean Flinder was right. She didn't expect that after running for so long, she hadn't even completed a lap. At this rate, she probably wouldn't be able to complete 20 laps by nightfall. Ahem, there's still some distance. Oscar looked at Ning Rongrong and hurriedly made a grilled sausage and said, "Why don't you eat one? My grilled sausage can recover your strength. Otherwise, you won't be able to finish running." However, Ning Rongrong only frowned and looked at the grilled sausage. Yesterday in the academy, Ning Rongrong thought that the fried chicken was delicious when Wang Feng fed her one. Thinking of this, Ning Rongrong's face turned slightly red. But now, Ning Rongrong looked at the grilled sausage and felt nauseous. She couldn't eat it no matter what. What's wrong? Didn't you think it was delicious yesterday? Oscar looked at Ning Rongrong's expression and his heart tightened. Unexpectedly, Ning Rongrong glared at him and pushed him away. "Delicious your head. Get out of my way." With that, she increased the speed of the Seven Treasures glazed pagoda and quickly left. He allowed Oscar to stand there in a daze, looking at him with a strange expression. Was this really the elegant, gentle, and pleasant Ning Rongrong he saw? Wang Feng, who was behind him, shook his head. As expected, This girl's demoness nature was finally showing a little. Back at the Rose Hotel, he could already feel it a little, not to mention that Wang Feng had read the original novel. Naturally, there was nothing to be surprised about now. Chapter 89. Ning Rongrong gave herself the speed of the seven treasure glazed tile sect. After running for a while, she felt that she could not go on any longer. It's too long. I'm not running anymore, Ning Rongrong muttered. As she spoke, she walked to the main road. She planned to go from here to Soto City and have a big meal first. Then, she would take a stroll around Soto City. She had finally snuck out from the sect. She was here to have fun. Learning was just a side trip. Shrek Academy was nothing more than a cover for him to play with. Just as Ning Rongrong was about to leave the academy, on the main road in front of her, a figure suddenly appeared. Wang Feng, are you waiting for me here? Ning Rongrong looked at the figure in front of her in surprise. She lifted her chin slightly. Don't tell me you want to go with me to have fun? Then this lady will reluctantly agree to let you go with me. Wang Feng, who was in front, had just turned around. When he heard this, he staggered and almost fell. So this lass still wanted to go out to have fun? Does she not have any awareness at all? Ning Rongrong, did you forget something? Wang Feng asked. What? Forget what? My memory is very good. I didn't forget anything. Ning Rongrong looked at Wang Feng blankly. After thinking for a while, her face suddenly turned ugly. Don't tell me you want to chase me back to continue running? She originally thought that Wang Feng wanted to go with her to have fun and was happy. However, when she heard Wang Feng's words, her face instantly changed. What do you think? Wang Feng looked at Ning Rongrong speechlessly. Ning Rongrong's face turned even uglier. Wang Feng, I advise you not to be a busybody. If you want to go with me, I welcome you. But if you wanted to go back, don't even think about it. As she spoke, Ning Rongrong took a few steps forward. Then Ning Rongrong, let me tell you, if you could take a step out from behind me, I'll consider you capable. Wang Feng lazily said, I don't lay my hands on girls, but I can move my feet. Ning Rongrong was speechless. If you don't want to be kicked down by me, then go back obediently. Wang Feng continued to speak slowly. Ning Rongrong was so angry that her face turned ashen. She looked at Wang Feng and shouted, What right do you have to control me? This was just an academy. Wang Feng, if you dare to kick me, you won't be able to bear the consequences. In the seven treasure glazed tile sect, who wouldn't listen to him? Wang Feng, this guy has been causing trouble for me time and time again. Although I didn't hate him at first, I actually like him a little. But now, he actually dared to stop him. Ning Rongrong couldn't take it anymore. Of course, the dean gave me the right to monitor you. Wang Feng faintly said, If you think that this is just an academy and don't want to guard anything, then you can leave the academy. As for the consequences, do you think that I, Wang Feng, am afraid of your seven treasure glazed tile sect? Although his tone was calm, his words carried a powerful aura, which made Ning Rongrong take a few steps back. Yes, to be able to say, if I'm not a support, my teammates won't have a chance to make a move. This kind of arrogant and self-confident person, to say that he was not afraid of anything was not an exaggeration. Wang Feng, don't scare me. I won't leave the academy. Quickly get out of my way. This lady is hungry. Ning Rongrong was after all a blessed girl, so she wasn't scared. She raised her round chin and said, Okay, then I'll go back and tell the dean that you're not suitable for the academy. I'll pack your luggage and let you leave the academy. Wang Feng stepped aside. You. Ning Rongrong's face sank again. Wang Feng, don't go too far. You're just a level 30 soul grandmaster. No matter how powerful you are, you're still just a soul grandmaster. Wang Feng. These words were so familiar. Fuck, these words should have been said to Flender. Yes, I'm a soul grandmaster right now. Wang Feng wasn't angry at all, and said with a faint smile, But I, a soul grandmaster, dare to kick you. If you dare to walk past me, I'll kick you down. Humph. Ning Rongrong raised her head and puffed out her chest. She wasn't afraid of Wang Feng at all, and directly walked past him. She didn't believe that this guy would dare to kick her. Step by step, Ning Rongrong slowly walked to Wang Feng's side. The delicate fragrance of a young girl entered Wang Feng's nose. Then, Wang Feng mercilessly kicked Ning Rongrong to the ground. Hiss! Two gasps could be heard. They were the two people from the Seven Treasure Glazed Tile sect who had been secretly protecting and observing Ning Rongrong. Ning Rongrong crawled up from the ground as if her hair stood on end. Her snow-white skirt was stained with dust, and her delicate white face was also covered with a few pieces of dust. It completely destroyed her elegant beauty. Yu. Ning Rongrong's eyes were filled with tears. She put her hands on her waist and looked at Wang Feng with a red face. This was the first time in her life that someone dared to treat her like this. The first in history. Crying? Wang Feng looked at Ning Rongrong and coldly said, "What's there to cry about? Who do you think you are? Without the Seven Treasure Glazed Tile sect, you're just a beautiful little girl. Who knows what corner you're in right now? You have talent, you have a background, and you don't work hard. You only know how to enjoy life. That's right, you have a choice. You can do this. But since you came to the Shrek Academy, you have to follow the rules here. This is not your Seven Treasure Glazed Tile sect," Wang Feng said indifferently. The Seven Treasure Glazed Tile Pagoda is the continent's top auxiliary-type martial soul, but you're bringing shame to the Seven Treasure Glazed Tile Pagoda. Do you know that? I didn't. Ning Rongrong was anxious and angry. She was only a 12-year-old girl after all. The Seven Treasure Glazed Tile Pagoda was the pride of the sect. It was also her pride. You didn't? Then tell me, in this academy, other than me, who can you compare to? Wang Feng sneered. Tang San, Xiao Wu, has a higher level of soul power than you, and more battle experience than you. Tang San doesn't even need to be mentioned. That Dai Mubai was already a rank 30 soul elder when he was 13. Can you do it at rank 30? Ma Hongjun has a top-level beast martial soul. Even if it's flawed, his soul power is still at rank 29. He's only stronger than you. Zhu Zhiqing, although her soul power is only a little higher than yours, her willpower is firm. If you ask her to run 20 laps, let alone 20, even if it's 100 laps, she'll crawl to the end. Do you believe me? Can you do it? Ning Rongrong was so angry that her chest heaved up and down. I'm an auxiliary-type soul master. How can I compare to them? Ning Rongrong held back the tears in her eyes and found an excuse for herself. Only on the battlefield can I play a greater role than them. That's right. What you said is very reasonable. Wang Feng laughed loudly. But let me tell you another truth. On the battlefield, only the living have the right to support. Oh, that's not right. Only the living have the right to support their teammates. If I wanted to kill you on the battlefield, would you be able to escape? With your impetuous and arrogant personality, would you be able to find a teammate who would sincerely protect you and let you release your soul skills in peace? You won't. That's why you'll be abandoned and killed by your enemies. Chapter 90. After Wang Feng finished speaking, he looked at Ning Rongrong silently. It was his first time teaching a girl a lesson, so he was really inexperienced. Ning Rongrong wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes and said as if she was grabbing onto a life-saving straw, "No, there's still Oscar. I can at least beat him, right? Sorry, I heard from the dean that Oscar might be the most talented one among all of you." Wang Feng couldn't help but laugh. He's a food-type soul master with innate full soul power. Who else have you seen? Ning Rongrong. Ning Rongrong looked at Wang Feng absent-mindedly. Although she didn't want to believe it, she knew that Wang Feng wouldn't tell such a lie. As an auxiliary-type soul master, Ning Rongrong had already separated herself from a battle soul master and didn't have the thought of comparing herself. But now, after hearing Wang Feng's words, her heart couldn't be any colder. Even Oscar was stronger than her. It was extremely difficult for a food-type soul master to improve. Innate full soul power had never been seen before. Also, in my opinion, when Oscar grows up in the future, he might replace the Seven Treasures Glazed Pagoda's position on the continent. Wang Feng's words were like a sharp sword, giving Ning Rongrong the final blow. All of these words shattered Ning Rongrong's pride to the ground. With a cry, Ning Rongrong ran back crying. Wang Feng, I hate you. A sobbing voice sounded. Wang Feng, Ning Rongrong, don't blame me. You have to get through this. There's no one here now, only the two of us. No one else can see. If you wait until nighttime, with everyone watching, you'll be scolded again and lose even more face. Wang Feng shook his head. As if he thought of something, he walked into the academy in the dark. Hiss! A series of gasps sounded. Damn, this kid is definitely a ruthless person. Boss, what should we do? The young miss was kicked and made to cry again. Should we teach him a lesson for miss? Teach him a lesson? Are you sure the two of us can beat him? Did you not see Zhao Wuji yesterday? That seems to be the case. We can't beat him. What should we do? What else can we do? Report it to the sect master. At the same time, in another place. How ruthless. This brat is really too bold. Flinder's heart was also pounding as he watched. This is too ruthless. He doesn't show any mercy at all. I thought he would pretend that he didn't see anything and teach Ning Rongrong a lesson when she came back. He didn't even give her a chance to have fun and directly started to punish her. Just like me. Ha ha ha. I really want to see his expression when he faces the sword Dalu. Zhao Wuji couldn't help but laugh. He recalled how he had been pummeled by the sword Dalu last night, and he could almost see Wang Feng being pummeled by the sword Dalu. Wang Feng, you brat. I'm afraid you won't be able to escape this time. If Wang Feng heard this, the corner of his mouth would definitely twitch. Meanwhile, Seven Treasure, Glazed Tile Sect. Meeting Hall. In the center of the hall, there was a carved wooden chair. There was a huge jade stone embedded in the back of the chair. It emitted a faint green light and was as gentle as jade. It was a piece of top-grade warm jade. A middle-aged man sat on the wooden chair. He had a handsome face and an elegant temperament. His white robe was spotless, and he looked in front of him with a gentle gaze. If one ignored this place, he would look like an ordinary person. Everything looked so casual. At this moment, the door suddenly opened. A cool breeze surged into the hall and blew the porcelain tables and chairs in the shop, causing them to sway. Fengji, are you not worried about Rongrong being alone outside? This is a small academy, and there are only 2 soul sages. Can they teach better than us? No, I have to bring Rongrong back. His voice seemed to have come from all directions, and it carried waves of echoes that caused the hall to tremble without end. Then, an old man with white hair and a ruddy complexion flew in from outside the hall. Beneath his feet was a mysterious sword that was shining brightly. Ning Fengji, who sat at the head, couldn't help but shake his head and say helplessly, Uncle Jian, you and Uncle Long have spoiled that little girl too much, causing her to become arrogant, overbearing, and lawless. No one in the entire Seven Treasures Glaze sect is able to control her. It's better to let her go out alone and see the world. The elder called Uncle Jian frowned and said unhappily, Who said we spoiled her? Rongrong was a very obedient girl. You're not qualified as a father. You don't even understand your own daughter. Hearing this, Ning Fengji laughed bitterly. Rongrong is very obedient in front of the two of you, but in front of us, she's a little witch. After all, you're a titled Dalu. This elder was one of the most powerful people on the continent, the titled Sword Dalu. Uncle Jian, no matter what you say this time, you can't look for her. You don't have to worry about her safety, Ning Fengji said decisively. The dean of the Shrek Academy is the four-eyed cat Flander from the Golden Iron Triangle. With his strength, he can protect Rongrong. Or she gets bullied, Sword Dalu said angrily. Uncle Jian, Ning Fengji was speechless. With Rongrong's character, it's good enough that she doesn't bully others. Who can bully her? Just as he finished speaking, suddenly, a young man with a strange expression walked in quickly. Reporting to Sect Master, What's the matter? Ning Fengji frowned and said helplessly. Yes, it's about Mississippi, the young man said carefully. What happened to Miss? Could it be that she bullied someone in the academy again, and Flander came to complain to me? Ning Fengji asked. No. The young man swallowed a mouthful of water. He didn't know if the sword Douluo would go crazy if he told him the news. Then what is it? It's... The young man opened his mouth and said softly, "We just received news that Miss was kicked to the ground by a young man from the academy. She even cried because of this young man." As soon as he finished speaking, a gentle breeze could be heard in the entire hall. Ning Fengji was in disbelief. "Don't stop me. Who is this brat? I'm going to kill him personally." The sword Douluo exuded a cold aura. It was as if he was a ferocious tiger that wanted to devour someone. "Uncle Jian, calm down. Calm down. Rong Rong is already so old. It's good that she suffered a little." Ning Fengji hurriedly pulled Uncle Jian. He was slightly happy. Which young man is so powerful? He can make Rong Rong suffer such a big loss? Not simple, not simple. However, he was also a little angry. It's fine if he said that she cried, but he even kicked her to the ground. This is too much. That girl, she rarely frowned, let alone cried. She couldn't even bear to say a harsh word. Kick? That's even more impossible. If anyone dared to touch her, they would be beaten up by two titled Douluo. You, on the other hand, have both of them. What do you mean by it's good that she suffered a little? Move, don't stop me. The sword Douluo said coldly, "Don't worry, I won't really kill him. I'll just help him loosen his bones and give him a kick." After he finished speaking, the sword Douluo ignored Ning Fengji and turned into a streak of light and left. "Young man, take care." Ning Fengji's soft voice echoed in the hall. Chapter 91. The sword Douluo should be here soon. Wang Feng muttered as he walked into the academy. The scene outside just now must have been seen by the people who were secretly protecting Ning Rongrong and quickly reported to the Seven Treasure Glazed Tile sect. In a few days, the sword Douluo would be here. It was impossible for him to be afraid, not in this lifetime. "Wang Feng, where's Ning Rongrong?" Oscar, who was still running, asked in a low voice. "Cough, cough. I'm looking for her." Wang Fengxin said, "You gave me 5 roasted sausages." "All right. Did you bring the seasonings?" "I brought them all. Are you hungry? Come, here you go." Oscar passed the seasonings he carried with him to Wang Feng and then made 5 roasted sausages. After Wang Feng was done, he wrapped them up and handed Oscar 25 copper coins before walking towards the dormitory in the distance. "Brother Feng, what's going on?" Just now, Rong Rong suddenly came back crying. She didn't answer me, no matter what I said. Xiao Wu stood at the door of the dormitory, seeing Wang Feng walking over, and hurriedly asked, "Oh, it's nothing." When she was running just now, she fell and injured her body. "Don't I have a healing ability? I'll help her recover," Wang Feng said without changing his expression. "Is that so? Then hurry up." Xiao Wu pointed inside the dormitory. He could vaguely hear the sound of sobbing. "No problem. I'll treat her later." Wang Feng walked up the stairs and pushed the door in. He saw Ning Rongrong lying on the bed in front of him, using the blanket to cover her head, leaving only a small hole for her to breathe. Wang Feng quietly walked over, took out a roasted sausage, and placed it on the small hole in the blanket. He let the fragrance drift in. Not long after, Ning Rongrong slowly poked her head out. But when she saw that it was Wang Feng, her expression immediately changed. "What are you doing here? Go away. I don't want to see you," Ning Rongrong said angrily. "This bastard, he actually treated me like that just now, and even scolded me like that. I will never forgive him." Ning Rongrong gritted her teeth as she thought. Wang Feng didn't say anything. He picked up a sausage sprinkled with seasoning and bit into it. So fragrant. Wang Feng chewed. He didn't mention anything about what had just happened, as if he had forgotten about it. Ning Rongrong gulped. "Someone didn't eat much this morning, right?" Wang Feng said leisurely. Ning Rongrong didn't eat much in the morning. She wasn't used to the food in the village. Otherwise, she wouldn't have thought of going to Soto City to have a big meal. He looked at Wang Feng chewing on the sausage. For some reason, he felt disgusted by the sausage and found it hard to swallow. At this moment, he actually felt like, "Take your sausages and get out," Ning Rongrong said as she wiped her tears. Her fair face was full of tear stains, but at this time, she had a gentle temperament of a weeping beauty, which made her even more attractive. Wang Feng didn't feel anything. You really don't want to eat? Wang Feng stood up and looked at the 4 grilled sausages in the wrapping paper. Ning Rongrong sneered and said stubbornly, I'm not eating. Get out. Oh. Before Ning Rongrong could finish the word get out, Wang Feng took a grilled sausage and quickly put it into Ning Rongrong's mouth. Ning Rongrong opened her eyes wide and looked at Wang Feng. She wanted to spit it out, but her stomach let out a disappointing growl. She blushed. Coincidentally, Wang Feng put the remaining 3 grilled sausages in the wrapping paper on the table and slowly walked out of the door. As soon as he walked out, Wang Feng heard chewing sounds coming from the room. It was very, very small, as if it was afraid of being discovered. It was like a little hamster secretly nibbling on rice. After a while, the door creaked open. Ning Rongrong walked out expressionlessly, as if she didn't do anything. Have you thought it through? You still have 19 laps left. Continue. Wang Feng pointed outside. Ning Rongrong snorted and didn't refute. She walked down. Wait. Wang Feng walked over and handed her a piece of tissue. He couldn't help but laugh. Even if you don't want to talk to others, you should at least wipe your mouth clean, right? As he said that, Wang Feng pointed at the corner of Ning Rongrong's mouth, which was covered with the seasoning of the grilled sausages. Hearing this, Ning Rongrong's face turned red again. She glared at Wang Feng with some embarrassment and anger. She took the tissue and wiped her mouth carelessly before running down the stairs. Seeing this, Wang Feng finally breathed a sigh of relief. He finally got rid of Ning Rongrong. It seemed that those words were still effective. No one was perfect. Although Ning Rongrong was spoiled, she was very smart. His words must have aroused her self-esteem and competitiveness. She was the #1 genius of the 7 treasure glazed tile sect. Amazing, amazing. In the office of the school, Flandin and Zhao Wuji looked at each other in dismay. Youngsters these days are really amazing. Flandin sighed. If I had this kind of skill at my age, I would have a house full of children and grandchildren by now. As he said that, a trace of sadness flashed in Flandin's eyes. He immediately shook his head. He's really amazing. This kid is good at both scolding and coaxing people. He really made Miss Ning Rongrong obedient. Although Zhao Wuji didn't really understand what was going on, he was also very shocked. Scratching his head, Zhao Wuji felt that he couldn't understand. How does his brain work? The two of them had been secretly observing the interaction between Wang Feng and Ning Rongrong, afraid that there would be any changes. They never thought that it would be like this. Ning Rongrong finished her 20 laps. Wang Feng followed behind her and watched her finish. He didn't know where her perseverance came from. When Oscar saw this scene, he was shocked. This Miss Ning Rongrong was really fickle. She just went out, but not long after, she obediently came back. She even gritted her teeth and finished her 20 laps. She was so tired that she was drenched in sweat. Ning Rongrong squatted on the ground. Her face was red and steam was rising from her head. Not bad. You've impressed me, Wang Feng said with a smile. Humph. I'm afraid you're not blind enough to see me in a new light now. Ning Rongrong stood up and said lightly. Wang Feng. At this time, night had fallen. It was already evening. Tang San, Xiao Wu, Dai Mu Bai, and the others were also gathered together in high spirits. Flandin also walked over, but he didn't look at Tang San and the others. Instead, his gaze fell on Oscar, Ning Rongrong, and Wang Feng. It looks like you've finished your 20 laps. Flandin's sharp gaze fell on Oscar and Ning Rongrong. We're done. Oscar nodded. Flandin's gaze fell on Ning Rongrong again. At this time, Ning Rongrong felt a surge of confidence from the bottom of her heart. She said loudly, I'm done as well. Hearing this, everyone looked at Ning Rongrong in surprise. Oscar could finish his run. After all, he was a man. His body was naturally stronger than a woman's. Moreover, he was in the academy, so he must be used to this kind of intense training. Chapter 92. As for Ning Rongrong, she was a girl. She had probably never undergone this level of training at home, right? But now she actually finished it. Feeling the astonished gazes from all around, Ning Rongrong's confidence increased by a few notches. She raised her head and puffed out her chest. Good, good, good. You are indeed the proud daughter of the seven-treasure glazed tile sect. You did not embarrass your father, nor the entire seven-treasure glazed tile sect. Flender laughed a few times, his gaze vaguely falling on Wang Feng. When Ning Rongrong heard this, her heart ached slightly. If this praise was in the sect, she would not feel anything at all. But now it gave her an incomparable sense of happiness and satisfaction. Wang Feng looked at this scene from the side and sighed softly in his heart. If this was in the original work, Ning Rongrong would have been completely embarrassed by Flender's words. Wang Feng did not have any thoughts at first. Who knew that Flender's change would quietly change the original trajectory? Wang Feng had no choice but to make a change. Next, I will bring all of you to your first lesson. Rongrong and Oscar, the two of you have exhausted too much energy. Just watch. This will be your official lesson. If you do not follow my instructions, don't blame me for being ruthless. Follow me. Flender glanced at the crowd and led them towards Soto City. Not long later, the group finally arrived at Soto City. At this moment, although the sky was completely dark, the night market of Soto City was still bustling. All kinds of street vendors walked through the streets, and the shops were dazzling. The group of people looked around with different expressions, especially Xiao Wu and Ning Rongrong. They were very curious about their surroundings. In contrast, Zhu Zhuqing was very quiet. She followed behind Flender without looking sideways. She was very focused. Suddenly, Flender stopped and looked at the building in the distance. Principal, are you going to bring them to that place? Dai Mubai's expression changed slightly. When everyone heard this, they immediately retracted their gaze and paid attention. They followed Flender's line of sight and looked over. It was an exceptionally magnificent building. It was at least 100 meters tall and still shone with a dazzling light in the night. Nonsense. If we don't let them go here, where else can they go? Flender said indifferently. A monster naturally has to have a monster's cultivation method. If you can do it step by step, why bother coming to our Shrek Academy? Tang San and the others were immediately intrigued by his words. Only Wang Feng murmured from the building far away. Is this the great Fighting Souls arena of Soto City? Flender turned around, looked at them, and explained, that's right. This kind of building is usually only found in certain main cities. Inside, there is only the purest battle. It was the embodiment of a soul master's worth on the battlefield, and it was also the symbol of a country's strength. It could even determine the rise and fall of a country. This was because soul masters were the foundation of a country. If the soul masters were strong, the country would be strong. If the soul masters were weak, the country would be weak. It's the same for both the Heaven Do Empire and the Star Luo Empire. Flender pointed at the building in the distance and said in a deep voice, its name is the Great Arena of Souls. Soul masters fight against heaven, earth, and people. If you want to be strong, you naturally need to fight. Here, you can experience countless soul masters, experience all kinds of fighting methods, and experience all kinds of battles between soul masters. Here is also the place where soul masters can show their value and strength the most. There is no other. Well, I won't explain anything else for the time being. Mubai, introduce it to them. After Flender finished speaking, he shut his mouth. Dai Mubai nodded and said, there are 3 types of battles in the Great Fighting Souls arena: single battles, double battles, and group battles. For the last one, we don't require it now because soul power is different. After any soul master enters the Great Fighting Souls arena, they can only improve their soul power level through fighting and obtain different levels of soul power badges. The levels are from bottom to top: iron, copper, silver, gold, purple gold, sapphire, ruby, and diamond. Speaking of this, Dai Mubai paused. Flender suddenly said, and the task I give you is to get that silver soul badge before graduation. When Tang San and the others heard this, they couldn't help but secretly think, this is only the 2nd level of soul power badge. Isn't it too simple? The silver soul badge is not so easy to get. Dai Mubai looked at everyone, sighed, and explained, my soul power is now at rank 37, and I have fought a total of 56 battles. My record is 29 wins, 27 losses, and only 2 points. Hearing this, Tang San and the others were taken aback. They all knew Dai Mubai's strength. How could his points be so low? Because of the rules of this great Fighting Souls arena, from iron to bronze, you need more than 100 points. 1 point for each win and 1 point for each loss. However, the actual allocation is indeed based on the soul masters of the same realm. When I was at rank 29, I won several battles in a row, but after I reached rank 30, I was assigned to opponents at rank 36 and 37. It was very difficult to defeat, and I lost in a row. To put it simply, this allocation mechanism is very deceptive. Even Fatima's points are higher than mine. He has 33 battles, 21 wins, 12 losses, and 9 points. Dai Mubai shook his head with a wry smile on his face. Everyone was silent. There was such an allocation mechanism. In an instant, everyone looked at Wang Feng in unison. Here, he was the only one at rank 30, which meant that he would face all kinds of opponents at rank 38 and 39. However, Wang Feng didn't get a soul ring, so his opponents should be below rank 30. He was too lucky. Wang Feng smiled and secretly thought, what kind of trap is this? You haven't seen the ranking mechanism of a game called LOL. That is a real trap, and it will make your scalp tingle. Okay, let's go in, don't waste time. Flinder walked in with a group of people. In Wang Feng's eyes, this place was similar to the Colosseum of ancient Rome. It was noisy and could accommodate tens of thousands of people. There were also various VIP seats. In front of the door, there was a stone tablet engraved with the densely packed names of the dead. The registration was also very simple. The group was almost done very quickly, and then they were assigned to the 14th Great Soul Arena. I suggest that in addition to individual battles, you try to form a 2v2. This way, you can get more points, because you can only participate in 1 battle a day. Dai Mubai looked at the 3 of them and said, Brother, then let's be a team. Xiao Wu said with a smile, I've already thought of a name. Let's call it the 3-Dance Group. Tang Xin could only nod. Oscar and Ning Rongrong, you're only auxiliary-type soul masters. Generally speaking, you just have to watch. In the Great Soul Arena, auxiliary-type soul masters almost never go on stage. This place is not big, and there are too many unfavorable factors for auxiliary-type soul masters. On the contrary, watching more will be more useful. Dai Mubai continued. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.